Chapter 50. Su Yin staggered and nearly fell to the ground. He was weak, extremely weak. The divine power in his body had been exhausted. He was panting heavily and breathing heavily. Su Yin was sweating profusely, but his eyes were filled with uncontrollable excitement. He had been forced to use the human body as a foundation to imitate the Earth's killing intent. Finally, he had used the array formation to evolve an alternative battle form. This was Su Yan's original battle form, driven by the array formation, with the human body as a foundation. The dragon flew in the sky. First of all, congratulations on completing the trial. Unfortunately, you have exceeded the time limit, the silver-robed woman lightly said. F***K. Su Yan was tongue-tied. He could not help but curse. Wasn't this too much of a bully? He had worked himself to death to succeed, but the silver-robed woman had told him that he had exceeded the time limit. Because of your excellent performance, I look forward to seeing you reach new heights in the inheritance trial. See you next time. Su Yan's vision was dizzy. He was very unwilling to give up. Finally, he glared fiercely at the silver-robed woman's voluptuous figure and disappeared from the 8th level of the Tower of Trials. After Su Yan disappeared, the silver-robed woman's expression was lonely and desolate. She muttered to herself, "How much longer do I have to wait? This planet has only just awakened. It's hard to give birth to a genius in just a few decades. But I don't have time." The silver-robed woman faintly sighed. Su Yan's talent was outstanding, but he was too weak. Even if he went up, there was no hope for him. Su Yan pushed open the doors of the Tower of Trials. As he walked out, he was in a daze. There were many students outside, all of them staring at him. There were even some bold young girls throwing flirtatious glances at him. Su Yan shivered. Many students surrounded him, calling him senior brother. Compared to the previous 3 months, it was like heaven and hell. All the students here were very enthusiastic towards him. "Students, please make way, make way." Su Yan complained incessantly. But just as he finished speaking, a large number of students moved aside. Their eyes were filled with awe and complex emotions. Who would have thought that Su Yan would have such an impressive result in the Tower of Trials? Senior brother Su Yan. At this time, a woman walked over in a trembling manner. She didn't dare to look straight at Su Yan and said nervously, "I wonder if senior brother Su Yan needs any help in life? Feel free to let me know." When the people in the surroundings saw this scene, their expressions were extremely fascinating. They understood Chongling Yu very well. She was very respectful towards students with good talent, but she was indifferent towards ordinary students. Many students who had been angered by her before almost applauded. In life, Su Yan sized up Chongling Yu's figure with interest. The words that came out of his mouth made Chongling Yu's heart palpitate with excitement. She clasped her hands together and blushed. She lowered her voice and said, "If senior apprentice brother has any requests, junior apprentice sister will try her best to satisfy." "No need." Su Yan's face turned cold as he strode away, leaving Chongling Yu standing there in a daze. Someone sneered. Seeing Su Yan's strength, she tried her best to get closer to him. This Chongling Yu was really snobbish. Su Yan didn't feel strange at all. He quickly returned to his room and took out the contract to read it carefully. Su Yan wanted to know how many contribution points he had. This was the highlight. How could it be? On this day, there was a burst of exclamations in the Qianlong Mountain. Every disciple who saw the hidden dragon list couldn't believe it. This news was like a shooting star, spreading across the whole Huaxia University and causing a sensation in the whole Huaxia city. 8,900 points. Shocking. All the disciples who saw the hidden dragon list were shocked. They couldn't believe it. Su Yan's name, with an absolutely powerful posture, had suppressed Jing Yonghui and climbed to the first place among the core disciples. Many people in the audience gasped. This was too terrifying because from the points, it could be seen that Su Yan almost reached the 9th floor. The 9th floor was a record that only the golden disciples had, but Su Yan almost reached the 9th floor. Damn it! Jing Yonghui's eyes almost popped out. This was a great shame. Su Yan had actually suppressed him. A new student who had just entered the school for 3 months had actually suppressed him. Incredible, simply incredible. I want to propose that Su Yin directly become a golden disciple. He is worthy of the school, spending a lot of money to cultivate him. A new student who had just entered the school for 3 months almost reached the 9th floor. How terrifying is his comprehension ability? Su Yin is actually a student of Yuan. No, this kind of talent can't be wasted by Yuan. I will ask the school to transfer Su Yin to my school. The whole school was in a sensation. Some golden disciples were moved, especially Tao Tianhua, who flew into a rage. It would be even more difficult to deal with Su Yin in the future. Some teachers had already set off to the place where Su Yin lived. However, when they saw the closed door sign hanging on the door, they all smiled bitterly. They didn't want to disturb him. Even the disciples of the big families who had come to befriend Su Yin didn't dare to disturb him. Their families had already sent word that they should try their best to befriend him and not offend him. This Su Yin is too arrogant. Even people from the Tang family came. The Tang family elder coldly snorted. Tang is in closed-door cultivation. He definitely won't be weaker than Su Yin. I don't believe that a wild kid from the 9th base can surpass Ting in the future. This is just a temporary thing. Su Yin didn't have time to care about these people. He was busy calculating how many contribution points he would get. Haha, with the contribution points that Lin Wanlan gave me, I now have 100,000 contribution points. Su Yin was excited. 100,000 contribution points. This was a huge amount of wealth. It could be used to buy countless treasures and even various rewards. Su Yin also felt that it was a pity. He had almost reached the 8th floor, but he wasn't in a hurry. He would reach the 8th floor sooner or later, and the 9th floor would definitely be difficult. I'll wait for the teacher to come and see what I can buy. Su Yan's face was filled with fatigue. He lay on the bed and was about to fall asleep. During this period of time, he had spent too much time in the Tower of Trials. Su Yin quickly fell asleep. He slept until the sky turned dark. When he woke up, he was full of energy. Just as he got up, his communicator rang. Su Yin saw Xia Yang picking up the call. Haha, brother, you must have been busy during the day, so I didn't want to disturb you. Do you have time now? Su Yin could guess Xia Yang's motive. He had caused such a huge commotion that the Underground Business Alliance would definitely pay attention to him. It's like this. The higher-ups asked me to befriend you. You know that your potential is too great. You will definitely become a powerful person in the future. Xia Yang quickly cut to the chase and said, The Underground Business Alliance has prepared a generous gift for you. Su Yin listened with interest. When he heard that the Underground Business Alliance was willing to let Su Yin go to their treasure vault and choose any 3 treasures, Su Yan's heart skipped a beat. After all, the Dragon Totem could discover unknown treasures. The mysterious black ore was obtained from the auction. It must be something special. Su Yin didn't hesitate and agreed. Xia Yang was very excited. Then I'm relieved. When you have time, remember to come to the Business Alliance. Don't forget to give me a heads up. Su Yin hung up the call. He was looking forward to the Underground Business Alliance's treasure vault. He was curious about the unknown mysterious items. He wasn't in a hurry. He sneered in his heart. The greater my potential, the more Tao Tianhua wants to kill me. It's too dangerous for me to go out now. No hurry. It won't be too late to go when I'm stronger. Junior Su Yin, are you free? Just as Su Yin was thinking, a series of deep voices came in. He frowned. He had put up a sign saying that he was in seclusion. Now that people were talking to him through their souls, weren't they afraid of disturbing his seclusion? He pushed the door open and walked out. He saw a young man with a face as clear as jade. He had a strong aura and wore a golden battle robe. He was looking at him with a scrutinizing gaze. Who are you? Su Yin asked. Hearing this, the young man smiled faintly. I hope I'm not disturbing you. I'm Yuan Jingqi. I'm not sure if you've heard of me. Senior, I've heard of you long ago. Su Yin knew this person. He was a gold student. There were more than 20 gold students in Huaxia University. They were all famous. Yuan Jingqi was also one of the 3 vice deans. He was the most outstanding student under Zhuo Wenyao's teacher, Lu Peng. Lu Qingtian, Lu Peng, and Lei Lao were the 3 vice deans of Huaxia University. Lu Qingtian was an alchemy master. Lei Lao was born with a lightning body. Lu Peng was a martial arts grandmaster. He had created many powerful martial arts techniques and was famous in the Huaxia Alliance. Yuan Zhengqi nodded slightly. Junior, you're challenging the Tower of Trials. My teacher is very concerned about you. I'm here on behalf of my teacher. My teacher said that you can attend his class. As a vice dean, he couldn't bring himself to ask Su Yin to study under him. After all, he was a student of Yuan. Hearing this, Su Yin was shocked. He hurriedly said, "The vice dean's name is like thunder to my ears. Of course I'll attend your class." Yuan Zhengqi frowned. Did he really not understand, or was he playing dumb? His meaning wasn't too obvious. Shouldn't Su Yin take the initiative to become Lu Peng's student after hearing this? However, thinking about his results in the Tower of Trials, Yuan Zhengqi thought to himself, it's understandable for a young man to be arrogant. This Su Yin almost passed the 8th floor. He'll have a bright future. It's like this, Su Yin. Yuan Zhengqi smiled. There's a condition for attending my teacher's class. You have to be my teacher's student. My teacher treats each of his students very seriously. He will create a cultivation system suitable for each of his students. He even allocates resources. The vice dean's resources? He believed that no one wouldn't be tempted. Su Yin frowned. Yuan Zhengqi wanted him to abandon Yuan. Senior brother, thank you for your kindness. However, I've been learning very well under Yuan's tutelage. There's a lot of knowledge that I haven't digested yet. Therefore, I've never thought of taking anyone else as my teacher. Su Yan's reply caused Yuan Zhengqi's expression to change. He coldly shouted, Su Yan, do you think that the vice dean is inferior to Yuan? I wouldn't dare. However, I, Su Yan, have only been cultivating under Yuan's tutelage for 3 months. If you want me to leave Yuan for no reason, I really can't do it. Su Yan shook his head and said, this violates my bottom line. What a good no reason. Yuan Zhengqi sternly said, Su Yan, this is a rare opportunity. I advise you to think carefully before you answer me. Are you trying to force me? Su Yan's expression also turned cold. A teacher for a day is a father for life. I know what kind of person Yuan is. However, don't you think that this request is too much? Yuan Zhengqi was furious. He really didn't know what was wrong with Su Yan. Yuan and Lu Peng were easy choices, but Su Yan actually chose Yuan. All right, I'll remember your words. I hope you don't regret it. The Tower of Trials doesn't mean anything. You may have suppressed Jing Yonghui, but the Tower of Trials doesn't represent your strength. Chapter 51. Su Yan didn't agree to it? Are you clear? In a clean room, Lu Peng sat on the floor casually. He was dressed casually, but even though he looked normal, his body was emitting a strong martial arts aura. He was a famous martial arts grandmaster. Looking at his teacher, Yuan Zhengqi felt that Su Yan's decision was wrong. Teacher, I have said everything that needs to be said. However, this Su Yan didn't believe in teacher, but instead, he believed in Yuan. Yuan Zhengqi snorted. Teacher, this kind of student is not worth nurturing. Lu Peng looked at Yuan Zhengqi. His gaze made Yuan Zhengqi's scalp tingle. Even though he was a gold-ranked disciple, it was difficult for him to remain calm in front of Lu Peng. It's a good thing to be loyal. Lu Peng closed his eyes and said unhappily, don't say such things in the future. If there's a chance, I will personally invite him. You can leave first. Not only was Lu Peng not unhappy with Su Yan, he was even more serious about Su Yan. This kind of disciple was worth nurturing and could be entrusted with important tasks in the future. However, Yuan did not even open his life spring. Lu Peng felt that Su Yan's talent should not be wasted. Yuan Zhengqi clenched his fist and walked out with a pale face. Wasn't this Su Yan just slightly better at understanding? Was it worth the teacher's attention? Su Yan had been waiting for Yuan in the room. After about an hour, Yuan finally arrived. When he saw Su Yan, he squeezed out a smile. He was very satisfied with this student. Teacher, I have almost 100,000 contribution points now. What treasure should I buy? Su Yan asked excitedly. Hearing this, Yuan smiled. Don't worry. You have more than 100,000 contribution points. I didn't expect you to be able to reach the 8th level. Now, you're ranked first among the core disciples. Wait a little longer. Someone will come looking for you. Okay. Su Yin nodded. Yuan was also waiting. After all, what Huaxia University could give Su Yin would affect his future development. Ding. Su Yan's communicator rang. Seeing that it was a message from old Liang, Su Yin hurriedly replied, asking if he had time. Less than an hour later, Elder Liang arrived. As soon as he walked in, he laughed heartily. Su Yin, thanks to you, this old man has received great praise from Vice Principal Lu Qingtian. Yuan, you're also here. Yuan nodded. Su Yin hurriedly greeted him and said, Please take a seat, Elder Liang. Why are you here so late at night? Hearing this, Elder Liang smiled and said, You frightened a group of people this time. My purpose for coming here is very simple. I want to increase your benefits, including your prize. According to the contract I gave you, you now have 100,000 contribution points. Old Liang said with a smile, and you're now ranked first among the core disciples. You've even charged up in just 3 months. Vice Dean Lu Qingtian specially told me to tell you that the reward for being the first among the core disciples is doubled. That means you have 150,000 contribution points now. 150,000. Su Yin was excited. This amount of wealth was too great. Also, I'll give you 3 source essence stones. Elder Liang sucked in a breath of cold air. This was the most important thing. Source essence stones were not something that could be measured with wealth. Yuan was also very satisfied. 3 source essence stones was not a small amount. It would be of great help to Su Yin. Also, Su Yin, have you opened your life springs? Elder Liang looked at Yuan. He knew that Yuan had grasped a body cultivation technique. He wondered if Su Yin had walked down this path like Yuan. Su Yin shook his head. Elder Liang's eyes flashed with a trace of astonishment. This was somewhat frightening. Su Yin had not even opened his life springs, yet he was able to defeat Jing Yangyu and even reach the 8th floor of the Tower of Trials. This was simply too shocking. Elder Liang did not imagine that Su Yin had the strength of 1,000 horses. Su Yin must have cultivated Yuan's special technique and walked down the path of the life springs realm. After all, the body could be infinitely strengthened. Elder Liang sucked in a deep breath and said, Okay, I originally prepared 2 contracts. It seems like this is the second one. One was for Su Yin to open his life springs. The other was for him to not open his life springs. The reward from above made Elder Liang jealous. Su Yin carefully looked at the contract that Elder Liang handed over. Reach the 9th floor within half a year. The reward is the strongest technique. Su Yan's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. He asked, the strongest technique? Yuan was also moved. Elder Liang said in a deep voice, Su Yin, this is the strongest resource of the college. Top-level techniques are extremely rare and are all found in ancient ruins. Our college only has 2 of the strongest techniques. Even a gold-ranked disciple might not be able to cultivate them. For example, the Golden Crow Cauldron and the Golden Crow Sky Burning Spell that was excavated together with it. Elder Liang said in a low voice, Jiang Wuhin is also cultivating the Golden Crow Sky Burning Spell. This technique is extremely powerful. It cultivates both the life springs and the body. It can devour the sun primordial fire to refine the body. If you can reach the 9th floor, you will receive the strongest technique. Su Yin clenched his fists. This was related to his future development. It was extremely important. Who wouldn't want the strongest technique? Reach the 10th floor within a year. The reward is the ancient primordial blood, ancient treasures, and dragon fountain chi. Su Yin was shocked. The ancient primordial blood was worth 100,000 contribution points. The college was actually willing to give it to him. There was no need to mention the ancient treasures. When he saw the dragon fountain chi, a smile appeared on Yuan's face again. He was very satisfied with the resources that Huaxia University had given him. What is this dragon fountain chi? Su Yin was curious. Hearing this, Elder Liang lowered his voice and said, Su Yin, the dragon fountain chi is the most important thing. It is the essence of the dragon fountain. Even Lao didn't get it for Tung Ingjie. What? Su Yan's face turned pale. Back then, Lao didn't care about his face and fought for his body accumulation pill. It was obvious that he liked Tung Ingjiao a lot. However, he didn't even get the dragon fountain chi. Could it be that this thing was even more valuable than the body accumulation pill? To open a life spring, it would be best if there was a mysterious chi that was born between the heavens and earth. The dragon vein chi is the essence of the dragon veins. Don't underestimate the dragon vein chi. It's not even worth 100 origin essence stones. It's a limited resource that can't be bought with money. Su Yin was dumbfounded. This was a little scary. With the dragon fountain chi, the life spring that you open will be very powerful. The dragon fountain chi will help you build a solid foundation for your life spring. It will also nourish your life spring's foundation. In the future, when you reach the peak of the life spring realm, it'll be a great help. Even Tao Tianhua and Jingyang Hui don't have the qualifications to enjoy the dragon fountain chi. Do you think it's valuable? Su Yin fell into a state of shock. It was more than valuable, but it was too difficult. Elder Liang knew that it was too difficult for Su Yin to reach the 10th level in a year. But the dragon fountain chi in the entire Huaxi University could be counted with one's fingers. It wouldn't be given to Su Yin for no reason. Why isn't there any for the 11th and 12th levels? Su Yin was curious. Elder Liang was immediately amused. He smiled and said, Su Yin, you don't know. Since the Tower of Trials was created until now, I have never heard of anyone who could reach the 11th level. If you can reach the 11th level, then it would be really scary. Su Yin was speechless. So, the original contract was just a lie to fool them. Then if I pass the 11th level, what about the contribution points that the original contract awarded me? Su Yin asked, unwilling to give up. He wanted to give it a try. Elder Liang shook his head and laughed. Su Yin, if you can pass the 11th level, since the new contract doesn't have this reward, then the original contract will still take effect. His words made Su Yin smile. Elder Liang wanted to say something, but in the end, he didn't say anything. How difficult was this? Even Zhu Yan's disciple, Jiang Wuhan, couldn't pass the 11th level. All right, Elder Liang, do you know where the Tower of Trials came from? Su Yin asked again. Elder Liang shook his head. I don't know. Only the dean knows. The school has its own rules. All the inheritances of the Tower of Trials cannot be shared or passed to outsiders. Once discovered, you will be expelled from the school or even killed. Su Yin was moved. No wonder the inheritances of the Tower of Trials were not passed to outsiders. There was such a rule. All right, I've said what I wanted to say. Work hard, Su Yin. Try to take away the dragon fountain chi. Su Yin and Yi Yuan walked him to the door. When they left, Elder Liang secretly looked at Su Yan's living room. Su Yin closed the door and said nervously, Teacher, Elder Liang seems to have found out. Hearing this, Yi Yuan didn't care at all. It's fine. With your current achievements, no one will dare to make things difficult for you. However, Elder Liang won't spread the news. Even if he finds out, what can he do? You chose the living room, so you didn't break the rules. Su Yin relaxed a lot. He then asked how he should spend the contribution points. What do you want to buy? Yi Yuan asked. Teacher, my physical body can still be improved. Su Yin hesitated for a while before saying, I want to buy some treasures to strengthen my physical body and quickly reach the peak. You don't need to spend contribution points for this. I feel that the treasure cave won't be hidden for too long. There are at least a few 100,000 drops of origin liquid inside. We need to get rid of it as soon as possible. Yi Yuan's words surprised Su Yin. Did you want to go to the underground trade union? What underground trade union? Yi Yuan laughed. This is a small matter. Let the school exchange it for something good. Don't worry about it. When the time comes, I'll get you some origin essence stones. Teacher wants to buy origin essence stones? Su Yan's words made Yi Yuan nod. Tell Elder Liang now to spend 30,000 contribution points to buy them. Origin essence stones are the key to breaking through. They have an extremely strong, nourishing effect on the physical body. You still have 120,000 contribution points to buy the soul accumulating milk. Su Yin quickly opened the contribution point treasure illustration. After finding the soul accumulating milk, he sucked in a cold breath. Teacher, 100,000 contribution points. Yi Yuan laughed. Do you know how many people are watching him? Only students can buy the soul accumulating milk. This is a heavenly treasure that is nurtured by the heavens and earth. It is extremely beneficial to your soul. With a portion of the soul accumulating milk, your soul will improve by a large margin, and it will be much easier for you to step into the primordial soul stage in the future. Also, the cultivation plan I have for you will be smooth sailing. Su Yin didn't hesitate. He directly told Elder Liang that he needed the soul accumulating milk and origin essence stones. Su Yan's contribution points were used up just like that. However, after seeing the new contract, he was full of confidence. After all, some treasures couldn't be bought with just contribution points. After a while, Su Yan's communication device rang. After picking it up, Elder Liang laughed. Su Yan, I have already prepared the items. I will send someone to deliver them tomorrow. Let me tell you a piece of good news. Vice Principal Liu Chengtian has specially given you a portion of soul accumulating milk. Soul accumulating milk? Su Yin quickly thought and exclaimed, third-grade medicinal liquid, soul accumulating milk. Not bad. This item is only better than the body accumulating pill. Elder Liang said enviously. Congratulations, Su Yin. Suppressing the excitement in his heart, Su Yin laughed. I will go and thank Vice Principal Liu Changtian tomorrow. Su Yin, there is no need to disturb Vice Principal Liu Changtian. Elder Liang laughed. The Vice Principal often takes out some medicinal liquids and gives them to genius students for free. The third-grade soul accumulating milk has only been given out a few times. It's fine as long as you know. The Vice Principal is also willing to contribute to the Huaxia Alliance. Su Yin was silent. Yi Yuan beside him laughed. The soul accumulating milk is very valuable. The lowest price is 70 to 80,000 contribution points. The materials required are also very rare. You should first use the soul accumulating milk and then use the soul accumulating milk. Su Yin, our Huaxia Alliance doesn't only have a vice principal like Lei Lao. Su Yan's fist suddenly clenched as he looked at Yi Yuan. He didn't think that Yi Yuan would know about this. It was obvious that he was secretly paying attention to him. All right, I'll go out and get some origin essence stones for you. You cultivate your spirit first, right? You should make some preparations. We're going out for a walk in the wilderness. It'll probably take a few months before we return. Chapter 52. Su Yin closed his eyes. Unwilling to waste any more time, he began to cultivate his soul using the soul tampering technique. His forehead bone was crystal clear, absorbing the essence from the universe. The cultivation of his soul was very slow, especially when it came to nurturing a primordial spirit, which required a period of time. The stronger his soul, the faster he would be able to comprehend things. Su Yin couldn't help but think that Yi Yuan's choice was correct. As long as he could strengthen his soul, it would be very easy for him to challenge the Tower of Trials. However, it wasn't quiet in the middle of the night. Once the news spread, the whole of Huaxia University was abuzz with excitement. Jing Yonghui went to challenge the Tower of Trials. As expected, Jing Yonghui's first place was taken away by a newcomer. This is an insult to Jing Yonghui. Don't forget that Su Yin beat up his brother twice in a row. That's right. How could Jing Yonghui accept this? However, Jing Yonghui hasn't challenged the Tower of Trials for a long time. He has always been the first core disciple because he wanted to take more resources. Now that his resources have been taken away, how could he sit still? Many teachers were paying attention. Jing Yonghui wasn't so weak that he would be suppressed by Su Yin. It wouldn't be difficult for him to pass the 8th level, but no one could say for sure what the final result would be. Jing Yonghui? Liu Peng was furious when he heard the news. He wasn't angry because Jing Yonghui had challenged the Tower of Trials. He was angry because he clearly had the qualifications to become a gold student, but he had always been the first core disciple and monopolized the resources of the first core disciple. Time passed day after day. 3 days later, the school was in an uproar. Jing Yonghui had passed the 8th level. The first core disciple position had once again returned to him. However, this time, it didn't cause much of a stir. Firstly, they knew that Jing Yonghui had the power to do so. Secondly, What was there to be proud of by winning against a new student? I wonder when Su Yin will be able to pass the ninth level? Hee hee, I always want to see them fight. It's hard, isn't it? Normally, only gold students are qualified. I heard that many teachers want to take Su Yin in as their student. Even Vice Dean Lu Peng said so, but Su Yin didn't seem to agree. You don't agree? Was he crazy? What future can we have if we follow a Yuan? Who knows? I'm now paying attention to Jing Yongwei. I wonder if he can reach the 10th level. Huaxia University was full of undercurrents. Many students were cultivating in seclusion. How could a freshman surpass them? It was hard to accept. On this day, Yi Yuan returned and said, "We'll set off today. We'll cultivate hard outside for a while before coming back. We'll strive to pass the 9th level." Teacher, do you have any methods to pass the 9th floor? Su Yan's eyes lit up. Hearing this, Yi Yuan said, "Comprehension is related to a person's spirit and willpower. You are gifted and your deduction ability is extremely strong. You need to go through some difficult situations to fully stimulate it." Okay, teacher, wait a moment. Su Yin quickly took out his communicator and sent a message to Fatty and Lin Wanlan. He couldn't let this treasure cave go to waste. This place would be discovered sooner or later. He might as well let his two good friends cultivate here. After doing all this, Su Yin left with his teacher. The Xia Institute was located at the periphery of the wilderness. There weren't many ferocious beasts at the border. However, He Yuan's destination was a dangerous area thousands of miles away from the wilderness. That was the territory of the Beast Kings. It was extremely dangerous. The unknown journey made Su Yin excited. They traveled until nighttime and had already penetrated 600 to 700 miles. Su Yin could feel the terrifying aura emanating from all directions at any time. When night was about to fall, the wilderness was like an eruption of a tsunami. It was as if gods and demons were awakening one after another. Ferocious beasts with terrifying auras howled and roared as they swallowed the moon, shaking the mountains and forests. Ferocious beasts appeared at night, swallowing the essence of the sun and moon. The entire wilderness was filled with ferocious aura. It was as if it wanted to tear this territory apart. Let's not hurry on. I'll cultivate here for half a month. Yi Yuan scouted the surroundings and found a large waterfall. He jumped down and stretched his hand into the pool. He discovered that the water was extremely cold. This place is not bad. You can cultivate in the water at night. Under the cold conditions of the water, it can refine the blood in your body and strengthen the foundation of your body. Su Yin scratched his head. The dragon totem was searching for treasures. It had even discovered some treasures under the pool. Don't dilly-dally. Hurry up and go down. Yi Yuan's face was stern. Okay. Su Yin dived into the pool. As soon as he dived into the pool, he shivered. Su Yin immediately closed the pores on his body. The water was too cold. Even his body was shivering. His movement speed was restricted in the water. However, the cold water pierced his body and caused his blood to boil. It's really effective. Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. He swam in the water like a living fish. His spine constantly twisted and turned, emitting a low dragon's roar. It stimulated the power of his blood and qi. It constantly surged in his spine, using the form of a dragon to refine the blood in his body. This brat, Yi Yuan's face was full of helplessness. Fish after fish flew to the shore from the pool. They were all alive and kicking. This was a rare delicacy. Fish that could survive in such conditions were all great nourishment. Yi Yuan took out a large pot from the jade bottle. He started a fire and began to cook fish soup. Oh, there's even eels. This is good for nourishing the blood and qi. Yi Yuan smiled and caught an eel that was as thick as an arm that flew out of the pool. Although these tonics did not have much of an effect on Su Yin, if he consumed them daily, they could improve Su Yan's physique and temper the blood and qi in his body. Thus began his life of penance. Su Yin went out to hunt Lord-level beasts every day. Yi Yuan gave him a mission to hunt 10 beasts every day, and the beasts must be no lower than the second layer of the life spring realm. This was very difficult. While Su Yin was hunting, He also had to carefully fend off the Beast Kings. There were at least 3 Beast Kings in the vicinity. Every day, his mind was highly strung. What surprised Yuan was that every time Su Yin went out, he would find many precious herbs. He even brought back a 300-year-old ginseng 7 days later. This surprised Yuan. Could it be that Su Yin was born with the ability to find treasures? His nose was too sharp. Just as I expected, there's good stuff down there. This is frost iron that can be used to refine superior weapons. Yuan laughed heartily. On this day, Su Yin threw out 3 pieces of cold iron from the bottom of the pool. The value of these pieces was not low. If they were taken out, they could be sold for at least a few billion Chinese dollars. All kinds of good stuff went into Su Yan's stomach. Half a month later, Su Yan's cultivation of the Beginning Sutra had reached a higher level. He felt that he was not far away from the completion of the heaven and earth furnace. During this time, Su Yin refined a origin essence stone. The qi and blood in his body became even more turbulent. Yuan was looking forward to seeing how far Su Yin could awaken. If his current strength were to spread out, many people would be scared to death. "Master, save me." 1 month later, Su Yin was like a savage running through the forest. Step by step, the forest shook with every step he took. Gusts of wind were created, and the forest was in chaos. Roar! It was a giant ape. It was chasing Su Yin. It let out a violent roar that shook the earth. Su Yin had stolen its monkey wine, which was its lifeblood. Su Yin carried a large pool on his shoulder. The pool was filled with monkey wine. It was made from precious materials, and its value was difficult to measure. It's not necessarily a good thing to have a good nose. Yuan followed behind Su Yin and didn't help him. He was able to notice that in this dangerous realm, Su Yan's body seemed as if it had opened layer after layer of immortal vaults, and it erupted with dazzling divine radiance. Moreover, Su Yan's grasp towards the vital blood in his body had become even stronger. Wherever he went, formation scars were left everywhere. Su Yin had also refined the soul cultivation liquid. His spirit had increased by a lot. He had even opened the black, or his inheritance, and studied it carefully. Although it was difficult to understand, he was able to comprehend some of it. He had an extremely strong ability to comprehend formations. Boom! Su Yin broke away from the giant ape. 10 days later, a certain cliff was shaking. The roar of a dragon was enough to shatter the clouds in the sky. Su Yan's spine was about to shoot into the sky. His qi and blood were like awakening dragons. His deterrence was monstrous, and all the wild beasts in the wilderness were trembling in fear. Su Yan's physique had an innately strong aura that could intimidate wild beasts. Now that he had evolved into a dragon, it was filled with the ancient charm of a dragon. Yuan and Su Yin, master and disciple, were in the mountain forest, working together to deduce the secret dragon-shaped technique. This allowed this ability to be perfected by their combined efforts, and its power was even more shocking. Once it was awakened, it would trigger the eruption of all the qi and blood in the body, and its power would soar. "Ha, master, I dug out a 700-year-old sealwort." Yuan laughed. 700-year-old gold. Its medicinal ingredients were too precious. It could be used to refine third-grade pills. Time passed in a flash. Su Yin had disappeared for 2 months. Lin Wanlan had broken through to the 5th level of Life Spring with the help of a treasure cave. The fatty was hibernating and was about to cross a new level. Su Yin, that despicable Su Yin. Tung Yingjie had found Su Yin several times. He fiercely said, "Don't think that you're the champion just because you have a high comprehension ability. I don't believe that you can hide outside for a year." Another month passed. This mountain forest was filled with danger. It was not peaceful. All the Beast Kings had been provoked by Su Yin, but they were unable to do anything to him. He was simply a living ancestor, a bandit. All the Beast Kings had joined forces to encircle and suppress him many times, but Su Yin had escaped every time. He had dug out a 1,000-year-old spiritual herb, stolen a pond of monkey wine, and taken away a Beast King egg. There were too many delicacies that fell into Su Yan's stomach. Yuan could be considered to have opened his eyes. When he walked through the mountain forest, the treasures followed him. On this day, the dragon and tiger pulse followed Su Yan's awakening. His chi and blood surged like smoke signals. His body was filled with a ferocious aura. He was like the overlord of the mountain forest standing there, looking disdainfully at all. Even the beast kings were too lazy to pay attention to him. "It's about time." Yuan waved to Su Yan and said, "The bitter training is over. Today, we'll start using the medicinal bath technique." Medicinal bath? Su Yan scratched his head. He was like a savage, his hair loose, his clothes tattered, and his body stained with blood. "That's right. This is something I obtained by chance. It could be considered a 6th-grade medicinal liquid." Yuan's words caused Su Yan's head to buzz. He said in disbelief, "A 6th-grade medicinal bath? Teacher, you're a 6th-grade alchemist? How is that possible?" Yuan said in shock, "Medicinal baths and medicinal liquids are different. There's no need to refine them. As long as there are enough materials, it can be done. I originally thought that it would be impossible to succeed, but I've studied the big rock you stole. It's filled with inconceivable divinity. It's very likely to be the legendary divine metal." Su Yan's eyes burned. Half a month ago, the dragon totem released an extremely strong temperature. It was even more shocking than when he encountered the mountain treasure. Su Yan felt that he had encountered a great treasure, so he quietly sneaked over and stole the treasure of a rhinoceros beast king. He was chased for a few hundred miles and fled for 3 days before he finally got rid of the rhinoceros. Yuan then took out a large cauldron from his jade bottle. Chapter 53. The jade bottle was pure white and translucent. It was exquisite and exquisite. When held in Yuan's hands, it seemed a little different. Su Yan's envious look made Yuan laugh and scold him. "Don't even think about it. This is my most precious treasure. There's an independent space in this jade bottle that can store all kinds of things. Although the space inside is not big, it is very convenient." There's a space inside? Su Yan had already thought of this, but when Yuan told him personally, he was dumbfounded. This was too mysterious. According to the ancient people, this is a type of spatial treasure. Yuan said, "I dug it out from an ancient ruin. This kind of treasure is very rare even in the China Alliance. Although it has no other uses, it is already very precious just from its ability to store things." During these 3 months of bitter cultivation and life and death tempering, Su Yan had obtained all the good things in this jade bottle. Wong. Su Yan was surprised. The jade bottle spat out a cauldron. It was a bronze cauldron, and the walls of the cauldron were engraved with pictures of strange ancient beasts. This cauldron was surrounded by wisps of ancient aura. Although the pictures on the cauldron walls were from ancient times, they were still vivid and lifelike. The dozens of strange ancient beasts were like living creatures. It was very mystical. It was very heavy. As it sat on the ground, the layers of mud under its weight cracked. "This is a treasure refined by an ancient powerhouse." Su Yan stared at it. This was the first time he had come into close contact with such a treasure. "You can say that." Yuan poured out a pile of treasures from the jade bottle. They were piled up on the ground and emitted a colorful light. If news of these treasures were spread, it would cause a huge commotion. The most eye-catching thing was that the grains of golden rice were piled up together. There were about 100 of them, and they were emitting vigorous blood energy fluctuations. This was a fluctuation that they released on their own. Su Yan was shocked. Inside each grain of golden rice, there seemed to be a small dragon floating. Each grain contained a very strong source of blood essence. "Teacher, what kind of rice is this?" Su Yan sucked in a breath of cold air. He never thought that there would be such a miraculous rice in this world. "I got this from the ancient ruins. Back then, I harvested about 1,000 grains. I've eaten a lot of them over the years. Now, there are only about 100 left. The ancients called it dragon rice." Yuan smiled and said, "Rumor has it that if you eat this kind of rice every day, you will become like a dragon and your strength will soar to the heavens. If an ordinary person eats this rice every day, their lifespan will be extended by hundreds of years and their strength will be limitless. You can imagine how precious this rice is." Su Yan's eyes were opened, and he quickly said, "Can't we grow this kind of rice?" "That's impossible. If you want to grow this kind of rice, you need a huge amount of heavenly energy. It's too difficult. It's impossible for everyone in the Huaxiao Alliance to eat this kind of rice." Yuan shook his head. There was one more thing he didn't say. The value of dragon rice was extremely terrifying. These 100 grains were worth millions of contribution points. Moreover, there was no market for them. No matter how much money the Yuan offered, it was impossible to sell them. This is a 1,000-year-old snow lotus. Dragon rice is of the yang attribute, while snow lotus is of the yin attribute. The 6th level prescription states that you need a balance between yin and yang. However, I don't have anything else, so I can only use 10 million snow lotuses as a substitute. Yuan smiled. Su Yan was silent. Yuan had spent too much effort on him. What was the value of his liquid? Everything that Yuan brought out was priceless. There were also dozens of precious medicinal ingredients. They were all hundreds of years old, and there were even some that were 800 or 900 years old. They were all dug up by Su Yan in the past few days and could be used as auxiliary medicinal ingredients. All of the medicinal ingredients were thrown into the large cauldron by Yuan. Of course, this wasn't enough. Su Yan's gaze was fixed on the remaining items. There were 2 jars of ancient treasure blood and 2 large stones. One of them was stolen by Su Yan, and the other was provided by Yuan. Su Yan scratched his head and smiled bitterly. "Teacher, you've spent so much for me. I feel ashamed. You can repay me when you're stronger in the future." Yuan took out an ancient secret prescription for Su Yan to take a look. This was a 6th level secret prescription. Yuan was certain that there were no more than 3 secret prescriptions of this level that had been dug up from ancient ruins in the entire Huaxiao Alliance. 6th level foundation building elixir. Su Yan was moved. Foundation building elixir? 6th level foundation building elixir? This was a little scary. Could it be that these were used by the great powers of the cultivation world to nurture peerless geniuses? When I obtained this elixir, I thought that I wouldn't be able to use it. I didn't expect that you would obtain such a treasure. Yuan smiled and said, "If my guess is correct, this should be an extremely rare heavenly source stone. Now that you're using it to refine a secret prescription, even in the ancient times, it would be considered a top-grade foundation building resource." Yuan's palm suddenly ignited with a ball of fire. It was so hot that Su Yan's blood and qi were about to dry up. Yuan gave Su Yan too much shock. He was actually an alchemist. "You go and swallow the soul accumulating elixir. I'll refine the medicinal bath. I estimate that it'll take 3 to 5 days." Yuan sat cross-legged in front of a large cauldron. The jade bottle once again surged out. Countless drops of liquefied essence, a total of 100,000 drops of liquefied essence, rolled into the large cauldron at once, filling the entire cauldron. 100,000 drops of liquefied essence was already a very shocking scene. The cauldron came to life, spewing out a monstrous amount of life essence that pierced through the sky. It was about to transform into an essence dragon that soared into the 9 heavens. The large cauldron also came to life. The various pictures of ancient beasts on the cauldron's walls overflowed with a precious light. Under Yuan's control, the cauldron also shone brightly. The moment dozens of ancient beasts awakened, they emitted a power that touched the heavens and earth. The essence of the sun and moon that filled the sky poured down like a river of stars, falling into the large cauldron. The essence energy within the large cauldron was exuberant. Yuan nodded in satisfaction. The essence of the sun and moon could refine Su Yan's muscles and bones. The liquefied essence could replenish the losses of the body's metamorphosis. The main reason was because the cauldron was mystical. It could swallow the divine energy of the world and transform it into divine liquid. The student council will work hard. Su Yan closed his eyes. He could not let down Yuan's efforts. He took out the soul accumulating elixir. Drop after drop of the black liquid was produced. This was a wondrous object bred by the heavens and earth. Every drop of soul accumulating elixir contained the purest essence of the divine soul. Su Yan's divine soul revolved the soul refining technique. The power of his divine soul spread out, driving drop after drop of the black liquid. It dripped onto his forehead and was then swallowed by his divine soul. It had to be said that the soul accumulating elixir was extremely powerful. As Su Yan refined it, his divine soul rapidly grew stronger. Even his forehead was overflowing with divine light. At night, the mountain forest was not calm. Powerful beast kings opened their cold eyes one after another, staring at the divine light spewing out from the large bronze cauldron in the distance. Their eyes were all red and restless. They wanted to seize the good fortune. Yuan did not care. He sat there with his legs crossed. The large cauldron shone constantly, drawing in the essence of the sun and moon. He used the flames to refine the great herbs in the cauldron one after another, refining a 6th-grade foundation, building medicinal bath. On the second day, the large cauldron was even more terrifying. As it swallowed, auspicious light that filled the sky sprinkled into the cauldron. It was even absorbing the divine essence of the sun. What a tyrannical treasured cauldron. It absorbed the essence of the sun and moon at night, and absorbed the divine essence of the sun during the day. The power of yin and yang in this world was all contained in the cauldron. As the herbs were being refined, the vital qi in the cauldron became even more abundant. It was as if a dragon transformation pool was slowly being born. Yuan's expression was solemn. There were 2 large rocks in front of him. He picked up the one that Su Yan had stolen. He exerted force in his palm, and the old skin of the rock quickly cracked. The moment the crack appeared, the rock became countless times more terrifying. It emitted a monstrous divinity and actually pierced through the heavens. "Ha ha, good. Yuan laughed and drank a mouthful of the monkey wine that Su Yan had stolen. He threw the heavenly source stone into the cauldron. According to his understanding, the heavenly source stone was an extremely precious item. It was an extremely powerful cultivation resource, even in ancient times. He did not expect Su Yan to be able to steal such a terrifying treasure. The moment the old skin of the other rock fell off, rolling black light shot out in all directions like a burning black sun. Yuan's palm surged with flames and calcined the large black rock. It was a type of divine metal. It could be refined into divine metal and used to nourish Su Yan's corporeal body. At the same time, Yuan unsealed the 2 jars of primordial true blood. They awakened with the power of yin and yang, 2 existences that looked down on the 9 heavens, and 10 earths faintly stood in the jars. Their might was monstrous. There was no doubt that the true blood of the 2 primordial experts was priceless. It was the primer for a 6th-grade foundation, building medicinal bath. All kinds of treasures were placed in the large cauldron by Yuan. This cauldron was about to reach the heavens. Thousands of divine lights flashed and rumbled. The source of spiritual essence soared up and transformed into dragons that soared into the sky. They even erupted high into the sky and evolved into a yin and yang diagram. It was terrifying and mysterious. Roar. It had been 3 days. The roars of beasts exploded in the mountains and ravines, as if they were going to split the sky. It was a sign of an impending storm. The beasts roared at the sky and stared at the treasured cauldron that was seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. They all wanted to kill their way over and steal the fortune inside. In 3 days, Su Yan's spirit had become much more vigorous. A golden divine mark appeared on his forehead. This was Su Yan's spirit. It could now take on a vague physical form. Everything within a radius of 10 miles was under his divine soul. His divine soul was several times stronger than before. It's about time. Su Yan opened his eyes. When he saw the large bronze cauldron, he clenched his fists. Such a terrifying fortune was the cultivation plan that Yuan had customized for him. Su Yan didn't know how much it had cost. The army of beasts that were gathering nearby made Su Yan's hair stand on end. When he noticed Yuan's calm expression, he was relieved. Yuan didn't care at all. This meant that his strength was too strong. He was a top-notch expert. Success or failure depends on this. Yuan looked at Su Yan. The latter clenched his fists and nodded. Wait for my good news. Su Yan leaped into the large cauldron. As soon as he entered, Su Yan's body felt like it was going to be torn into pieces. The divine power contained in the cauldron was too overbearing. It was going to crush his body into scraps. His spirit and willpower, in particular, were under terrifying pressure. Su Yan understood. No wonder Yuan wanted him to strengthen his spirit. Su Yan didn't have time to sit down. Wave after wave of overwhelming power attacked him. Sometimes it was blazing, sometimes it was as cold as purgatory. Su Yan was in great pain. The heaven and earth divine essence in the cauldron couldn't stop entering his body. It entered his limbs and bones through his pores. Su Yan was in agony. His bones were breaking, and his organs were almost torn to pieces. The medicinal power was too terrifying. Su Yan almost fainted. Fortunately, his spirit was strong enough. After 3 months of tough cultivation, his willpower was as strong as steel. Yuan's expression was serious. Using a rank 6 foundation establishment medicinal bath was too dangerous. There was a chance of death. Whether or not you can be reborn will depend on your willpower. Yuan knew that although he had coincidentally swallowed the blood essence of an ancient powerhouse because of Tao Tianhua's attack last time, that strength couldn't be considered as a rebirth. However, this time, Su Yan would definitely be reborn. Roar! It was also at this moment that at least 1,000 wild beasts roared and charged over. One after another, the Beast Kings with terrifying auras charged over as well. It was an extremely dangerous scene. Thousands of beasts charged toward the large cauldron. Chapter 54. The cauldron shone with a myriad of multicolored lights. Spiritual essence surged and pierced through the heavens. It seemed to be breathing as if it were alive, seizing the fortune of heaven and earth. As it swallowed, the divine energy of heaven and earth within the cauldron began to flourish. This was an ancient treasure. Now, Su Yan was suffering bitterly within the cauldron. He was about to be refined into smithereens by the vast amount of divine essence within the cauldron. The beginning was the most difficult. Fortunately, Su Yan's spirit was strong and his will was tenacious. He gritted his teeth and endured through the most dangerous beginning. Beginning Sutra refined, Su Yan roared in his heart. He endured the excruciating pain in his body. His body exploded with the sound of sutra chanting. As the beginning sutra circulated, Su Yan's body trembled violently. He guided the vast amount of divine essence within the cauldron through his entire body. At this moment, Su Yan's body, which was on the verge of exploding, was replenished by the divine essence. His entire flesh shell began to crackle. The vast amount of divine essence began to wash over Su Yan's flesh shell. However, Su Yan's body was sometimes icy cold and sometimes blazing hot. This was the combination of ice and fire. Yin and yang blended and collided, giving birth to a terrifying destructive force. Yuan was very nervous. He stared at Su Yan, who could endure a 6th grade foundation establishment elixir. Even if someone had it, it would be difficult for them to endure such intense body refinement. The second critical juncture had arrived. Yuan knew that as long as Su Yan could endure the first few attacks, he would be able to successfully complete the refinement. Roar! At this moment, hundreds of miles of forest shook. Some large mountains were on the verge of collapsing. Thousands of wild beasts rushed towards the cauldron from all directions. They trampled on layers of soil, creating large cracks that extended far into the distance. Some large lakes even collapsed, causing lake water to pour into the cracks. This scene was terrifying. It could be said that a peerless mountain torrent had arrived. An extremely strong storm raged as it approached the cauldron. Evil creature! Yuan's eyes suddenly widened, and cold lightning flashed in the depths of his eyes. At this moment, Yuan was like a dormant, fierce dragon that had been released from its cage. His entire body released a terrifying aura that overflowed to the heavens, as if it wanted to pierce through the vault of heaven. The starving wild beasts that were running in all directions were trembling in fear. They were almost paralyzed on the ground. Their eyes were filled with fear. They wanted nothing more than to turn around and run. Roar! Yuan's aura became infinitely terrifying. His spine began to twist and turn like a twisting dragon snake. At the moment it twisted, the chi and blood in his body began to climb in a peerless manner, and in the end, it charged into the sky. If an outsider saw this scene, they would definitely be shocked. Yuan's appearance was too frightening. A huge, illusory dragon-shaped pillar drilled out of his back like a burning furnace. When it left his spine and turned into a dragon flying into the sky, the terrifying airflow caused everything within a radius of 100 miles to tremble and almost flip over. Roar! The scene of a flying dragon in the sky was monstrous. It circled around the cauldron like a bolt of lightning, and the terrifying airflow it created swept through the surroundings like a mountain torrent. Layer after layer of the earth was overturned. Countless ancient trees were completely shattered. Huge mountains rumbled as they were struck by the energy storm. Large cracks appeared on them. What a tyrannical scene this was. Yuan sat cross-legged and didn't understand. The essence chi in his body soared into the 9 heavens and danced with the heavenly wind. It swept through thousands of wild beasts. For a time, blood dyed the sky and corpses piled up like mountains. His hair danced in the wind. His entire body vibrated with the majestic fluctuations of an ancient dragon. The 6 beast kings that came were all fighting illustrious battles. Their subordinates had suffered disastrous losses. Only a few Lord-level vicious beasts had survived. The land within a radius of 10 miles was riddled with holes. The terrifying shadow of this martial god looked disdainfully in all directions. Rumble! At this moment, the burning essence chi in the cauldron became even more vigorous. Countless medicinal efficacies dissolved. The immortal treasury within the cauldron was completely opened, illuminating the night sky with a resplendent radiance. This shocking scene caused the 6 beast kings to hiss. Their eyes turned blood red. If they could obtain this good fortune, they could absolutely dominate the surrounding 1,000 miles. They could even step into the Monster King realm. Roar! In the end, the 6 beast kings couldn't hold back and rushed over. Their forms were different. Their breaths had recovered to the extreme. Their demonic auras were rolling. They were like 6 great war beasts that rushed towards Yuan. Umph! Yuan flew across the sky and slowly stood up. The moment he stood up, the heavens and the earth shook. His aura and power were about to shake the stars in the sky. Kill! Yuan roared. His demeanor was peerless. He raised his fist and smashed it down. What kind of mighty force was this? The moment this fist was pushed forward, the essence of the stars in the sky boiled. It was as if an ancient great star had crossed over. This fist was extremely powerful and domineering. It was as strong as Yang. The immemorial star fist could only display its glory in the hands of Yuan. The terrifying fist was released. At the moment of explosion, a blurry ancient great star exploded along with Yuan. It was magnificent and peerless. When it smashed down, the leading giant ape was bombarded into pieces and exploded in the sky. Roar! The 5 beast kings were completely terrified. This was the human god of war, the strongest existence. You want to run? Yuan was like a mad demon. His battle spirit soared to the heavens. He was too domineering. He just stood there and waved the immemorial star fist. Every punch pierced through the sky. His invincible, ferocious power killed a ferocious bird from a distance. Yuan's long black hair danced in the wind. He chased after the beast kings. Punch after punch, his momentum was heavy and fierce. There was not a single beast that could withstand the power of his fist. Only a rhinoceros managed to escape more than 10 miles away. Its speed was very fast. Its body was filled with fear. This was a ferocious dragon in human form. Only the most terrifying beast kings could confront him. However, the wildly running rhinoceros slowly froze. It turned its head in fear and saw a bronze-skinned man standing 10 miles away. He was holding a bow. When he pulled the bowstring, the heavens and the earth shook. His divine power was overwhelming. Boom! When the bowstring vibrated, the surroundings roared. The ancient trees collapsed. The heavens and the earth shook. Everything was about to be shattered. Roar! The rhinoceros roared. However, it could not escape at all. This arrow had locked onto it. This arrow was as fast as lightning. It cut through the night sky and tore through the darkness. Like a violent storm, it exploded the rhinoceros's body. Yuan put away the bow and appeared in front of the corpses of the 5 great beast kings. He took their blood essence and heart bones and came to the big cauldron. He threw the blood essence and heart bones into the cauldron. He also refined the heart bones into bone liquid and threw them into the cauldron. The blood essence of the 5 great beast kings was already very impressive. The divine power in the cauldron surged again. Su Yan's cultivation technique seems to be very powerful. Yuan stared at the cauldron that was constantly absorbing the divine essence of heaven and earth. His eyes flashed with a trace of amazement. It seems to be much more terrifying than mine. It seems that he has other opportunities. This night was not peaceful. Were there only these beast kings? Definitely not. The explosion of the cauldron had alarmed the surrounding hundreds of miles. There were even top beast kings coming to kill. Yuan was so terrifying that it was suffocating. The wilderness around him was riddled with holes. Blood stained the land for hundreds of miles. The beast kings that he hunted were all thrown into the cauldron. Su Yan bitterly persevered for an entire night. On the second day, the cauldron absorbed the vast essence of the sun and sprinkled it down. Su Yan's body exploded with dazzling light. His blazing blood and qi began to recover. Crack! His entire body and pores constantly spat out waste blood. The nourished blood was regenerated drop by drop. His blood essence surged. His heart turned into a thunderous drum and rumbled. The heavenly sound of thunder was a vision. It was accompanied by the long breathing of a true dragon. As its chest rose and fell, it guided the divine essence into his bones. It was a very cruel and bloody scene. Su Yan was in incomparable pain. This was because new bones were being nurtured in his body. The old bones were being squeezed out and separated from his body. He was pulling out his old bones. His internal organs were being shattered and reassembled. His internal organs were spitting out vigorous vital qi. Even the old skin on Su Yan's body began to fall off. Yuan was very satisfied. Su Yan had already entered the state and completed the first step of being reborn. At night, when the cauldron absorbed the essence of the sun and moon, Su Yan's body recovered. Under the nourishment of the essence of the sun and moon and the cooperation of the massive amount of divine essence, the aura in his body began to awaken. Boom! Su Yan's new body overflowed with blood and qi. The faint sound of thousands of horses galloping could be heard from behind him. The new body's potential was even stronger and more perverse. The divine essence in the cauldron was constantly weakening. Yuan was shocked. It had already been a day, but he could still devour. This was because the 6th grade foundation establishment elixir was enough for 3 people. However, Su Yan alone could devour it all. This time, Su Yan crazily absorbed the source of divine power for an entire day and night. More than half of the divine essence in the cauldron had been consumed. At this moment, Su Yan took a deep breath. As he breathed, the cauldron also rumbled. This breath was like a whale sucking in water. A portion of the foundation establishment elixir in the cauldron was rapidly reduced. The moment this breath erupted, golden ripples filled the sky. They swept in all directions and shattered the sky. Boom! As Su Yan's heart trembled, a stream of blood and qi rose into the sky. It was like a blazing sun. His blood and qi rose into the sky in a flourishing state. How is this possible? Yuan was in disbelief. He realized that there were thousands of horses galloping behind Su Yan. Could it be that he had the strength of thousands of horses? Chapter 55. Yuan couldn't have sensed wrongly. It was indeed 10,000 horses galloping with monstrous power. The vacuum behind Su Yin was trampled into pieces. How magnificent was the sight of 10,000 horses galloping. If Su Yin really had the power of 10,000 horses galloping, it was simply heaven-defying. He was 100 times more powerful than ordinary awakened ones. One could clearly see Su Yan's flesh shell carrying a real dragon. This was the embodiment of a dragon's power. Su Yin could be said to be a real dragon cub, releasing a terrifying, ominous light. When a real dragon's shadow returned to Su Yan's flesh shell along his spine, Su Yan's body was so terrifying that it could be said to be a god's body. It was filled with heaven-shattering divine power. No! Yuan's pupils suddenly shrank. He said, his technique has a divine ability. It's because of the divine ability that 10,000 horses galloping. But once the earth goes through a second great change, the laws of heaven and earth will be born, and people will be reborn. They will have the power of 10,000 horses. Yuan took a deep breath. This was a bit too terrifying. The beginning sutra's heaven and earth furnace had been completed. Su Yan's vitality was at its peak. It was because of the heaven and earth furnace that Su Yan had the power of 10,000 horses galloping. But aside from the heaven and earth furnace, Su Yan's strength had reached an unimaginable level. It was dozens of times more powerful than Zhu Yan's record in the awakening realm. If this spread out, who would dare to believe it? Su Yan's potential was enough to topple the future structure of the Huaxia Alliance. Therefore, Yuan wanted Su Yan to hide. Otherwise, it would cause chaos in the Huaxia Alliance. Zhu Yan was already enough to topple the Huaxia Alliance. Once a monster more terrifying than Zhu Yan was born, the Huaxia Alliance would be in chaos. Su Yan hadn't awakened. He had been suppressing his bloodline. With the previous lesson, Su Yan wouldn't let his bloodline steal his awakening resources. Now that his bloodline had been activated, the divine essence within the cauldron began to disappear at a terrifying speed under Yuan's petrified gaze. It was all being devoured and taken away by Su Yan's bloodline. Su Yan's bloodline was becoming more and more magnificent, more and more majestic. I like to see just how powerful your bloodline is. In order to awaken a bloodline that had been passed down since ancient times and obtain a divine ability or cultivation technique, one had to replenish the energy that the bloodline had consumed over the years. The more resources one spent, the more ancient and terrifying the bloodline was. Yuan still remembered that when he had activated his bloodline, he had spent an enormous amount of resources. However, compared to Su Yan's bloodline, it was a little weak. Then he was stunned. Su Yan had swallowed all the divine power, but his bloodline had not been activated yet. Su Yan could feel that there was a priceless treasure hidden in his bloodline. However, he couldn't open it because he didn't have enough resources. This was already a 6th grade medicinal bath for Foundation establishment. How much more resources did he need? Su Yan was a little confused. Awakening his bloodline could give him a cultivation technique or a divine ability. Su Yan wanted both. Teacher, soon. He stood up and walked out of the cauldron. He scratched his head and said, my bloodline hasn't been activated yet. What about your physical body? Yuan asked. Hearing this, Su Yan's body glowed and burned fiercely. His divine essence recovered. When he recovered to his peak state and the heaven and earth cauldron evolved, Su Yan was like a huge volcano standing there. When he continued to climb, Su Yan's body was like a terrifying piece of divine iron, clanging loudly. Looks like you've reached your limit. Yuan smiled and said, don't worry about your bloodline. Take it slow. If your bloodline contains a celestial art left behind by your ancestors, it can be changed in the future. Then I'm relieved. Su Yan heaved a sigh of relief. When he saw the blood flowing everywhere, he gasped. How strong was Yuan? He felt that Yuan was much more terrifying than Tang Yi. Just now, there were at least a dozen Beast Kings that charged over, but they were all killed by Yuan. We killed so many just now. It's inevitable that we'll attract the attention of the Beast Kings. Let's go back immediately. You should also prepare to challenge the Tower of Trials. After 3 months of hard work and this time's complete awakening, Su Yan's next goal was to reach the Life Spring stage. As long as I can reach the life spring stage, coupled with the strength of my physical body, I'll definitely have a high status in Huaxia University. This way, I can secretly investigate Bing Xuan's whereabouts and what happened that year. He took a deep breath. The stronger he was, the closer he would be to his goal. As for the Mount Everest, Su Yin asked Yi Yuan about it. Yi Yuan didn't answer him. She only said that he wasn't qualified to know about it yet. Then, the Mount Everest was considered a top secret among the higher-ups of the Huaxia Alliance. In the past few months, the new students of Huaxia University had changed a lot. A group of geniuses had also emerged. Teng Yingjie has reached the 7th floor. He almost reached the 8th floor. That's amazing. Zhuo Wenyao followed him closely. Unfortunately, he didn't reach the 7th floor. Are the two of them fighting? Zhuo Wenyao is still a distance away from the Thunder Body. The reason why Tang Yingjie is so crazy is that he wants to break Su Yan's record. Tang Yingjie has reached the 2nd layer of the life spring stage after all. I wonder what Su Yin is doing. He's been away for a few months. Now, Jingyang Wei has taken the 1st place among the core disciples. It's said that he's going to become a gold disciple. He wants to make room for the 2 geniuses of this year. It's said that Jingyang Wei is suppressing Su Yin right now. He won't let him get the 1st place among the core disciples. Once Jingyang Wei becomes a gold disciple, Su Yin will get a huge reward every month. The students were discussing animatedly. When a thick smell of blood hit them, they were stunned. They looked at a barbarian in tattered clothes passing by as if they had seen a ghost. Someone swallowed his saliva. Wasn't that Su Yin? What had he been doing these past few months? The disciples were all excited. Su Yin had returned. Teng Yingjie had been looking for him these past few days. He wanted to prove himself. Oh my God! When Su Yin returned to his residence, the fatty, who was cultivating in seclusion, was so scared that he shivered. Cold sweat broke out all over his body. He almost thought that Su Yin was a barbarian. Hee, you cultivate first. Su Yin took out a set of tidy clothes and took a hot bath. When he came out, the fatty stared at Su Yin. He rubbed his eyes and said strangely, "Are you still my brother?" Su Yin was stunned. He looked at himself in the mirror and felt strange. He had changed. His spirit and temperament had changed. Even his skin had become fairer and he had grown taller. I used to look ordinary, but now I've become more handsome. Su Yin grinned. He knew clearly that this was the benefit of being reborn. Even after being reborn, Su Yan's speed of absorbing the essence of heaven and earth had quietly increased. The fatty humbly asked for advice and said with a sinister smile, "What did you eat? Give this fat brother one. I also want to become more handsome and seduce the beauties of the academy." Su Yin smiled mysteriously and whispered a few words into the fatty's ear. The fatty buried his head in thought. He rubbed his fat hands and laughed. Tiger Penis can also become more handsome, hee. Where did Lin Wanlan run off to? Su Yin looked around the room and asked. She is now Lu Chengtian's student. She is probably listening to a lecture right now. Recently, Lin Wanlan has been valued by the academy. Moreover, her alchemy skills are getting stronger and stronger. I think Lin Wanlan has a chance to become a gold student. The fatty said absent-mindedly. He was thinking about where to get these things. The status of an alchemist was too high, especially a genius alchemist. Tao Tianhua relied on his alchemy skills to become a gold student. All right, Su Yin, the fatty said, I still need to use the treasure cave to cultivate for a while. I feel like I am about to break through. You are about to break through. Su Yan's face lit up with joy. If the fatty could step into the 6th level of the life spring realm, then it would be amazing. The 6th level and 5th level were completely different. Once he stepped into this level, the fatty's battle strength would be about the same as Jingyang Hui's. The 9th level of the life spring realm was like ascending to the heavens with each step. However, breaking through was very difficult. If it weren't for the treasure cave, the fatty estimated that he would need another year to break through. It could be seen how vast the amount of godly energy needed was. Don't worry and use it. I'm going to challenge the Tower of Trials. I hope I can see you succeed when I come out. Su Yin was happy for the fatty. He closed the door and walked towards the Tower of Trials. After all, if he could reach the 9th level, he would be able to obtain the strongest skill. Not long after Su Yin left, there was a burst of barbaric knocking on the door. "Who is it?" The fatty was angry and fiercely rushed out. Su Yin and Lin Wanlan both had the keys to the room. Who was so blind? He was thinking about where to get the tiger penis. "Where is Su Yin?" Tung Ingjia's expression was ugly. This fatty did not know what was good for him and did not give him any face. Last month, he had almost been beaten up by him. After all, the fatty was at the 5th level of the life spring realm. No matter how strong Tung Ingjia was, he could not defeat the fatty. The fatty boasted he wanted to challenge the Tower of Trials. Open your eyes wide and take a good look. Without waiting for Tung Ingjia to speak, the fatty slammed the door, causing the veins on Tung Ingjia's forehead to bulge. He almost went berserk. Challenge the Tower of Trials? Su Yin, I don't believe you can pass the 8th level. Tung Ingjia had already used up all his attempts this month. He felt that he would soon reach the 8th level and could definitely surpass Su Yin. He did not believe that Su Yin could pass the 8th level. The 8th level was too difficult. He had asked Jing Yonghui many times, and Jing Yonghui had only passed the 8th level after more than 10 attempts. Su Yin went to challenge the Tower of Trials. What? Su Yin is back. Quick, let me know if there is any news. Whether or not he passed, I want to hear first-hand information. All the teachers in Huaxia University were very busy. The 3 vice deans were also paying attention, especially Lu Qingtian. He had given Su Yin a portion of soul accumulating milk, so Su Yin's deduction speed should be faster. Once again, Su Yin had just reached the 1st level when he was teleported to the 8th level by some force. The silver-robed woman was still as stunning as before. She was graceful, and voluptuous. Her every move made the world lose its color. Watch carefully. Su Yin rushed up in an instant. As he ran, the ground under his feet flashed with countless formation marks, as if he was going to run through the entire 8th level of the Tower of Trials. The silver-robed woman's eyes flashed with surprise. After 3 months, Su Yin's mastery of the Tao of Arrays had reached a new level. He could do as he pleased. All right, you passed. The silver-robed woman's bright red lips opened slightly. Her words made Su Yin, who was about to unleash his strongest attack, stop abruptly. His eyes were wide open as he hurriedly retracted his strength. However, the strength he had just unleashed was too strong. He staggered and fell to the ground, his head almost hitting her feet. Su Yin raised his head angrily and saw a pair of snow-white long legs that could make one's blood boil. When he looked up, he saw the bottom of the dress that made one's imagination run wild. I woke up early. I'm a little scared. Chapter 56. Su Yin felt a little dizzy. His brain short-circuited as he sunk into the snow-white world. When he regained his senses, he realized that the silver-robed lady had already walked forward. Su Yin hurriedly got up and patted the dirt off his body. With a righteous look, he followed behind the silver-robed lady towards the 9th level. Creak! The silver-robed lady pushed open the door to the 9th level. When Su Yin arrived, he was stunned. The heaven and earth essence energy here was too rich. What is this? A tinge of shock flashed across Su Yin's eyes. He saw that the space in front of him was filled with dense formation markings. These formation markings, which looked like scribbles, were like mysterious words that surrounded the empty space, flashing with a brilliant light. Su Yin walked over. This was a wondrous formation. Complicated and profound formation marks lingered around it. It was mystical and brilliant. Su Yin realized that the heaven and earth essence energy from all directions was gathering towards this array. This is a spirit gathering array. The silver-robed lady's beauty was unparalleled. She said softly, "It belongs to the lowest level of spirit gathering array. Its effect is special. It can gather the heaven and earth essence energy." Su Yin gasped. There was such a mysterious array in the world. After all, a person's cultivation was related to the heaven and earth essence energy. If one could grasp the method to gather the heaven and earth essence energy, they would be a master, an incredible master. I'll give you 10 days to draw the spirit gathering array. The silver-robed lady said lightly. If you fail, you will change to another array the next time you come. You only have 3 chances. If you fail all 3 times, you're not allowed to come to the Tower of Trials in the future. Violators will be killed. Su Yan was stunned. Looking at this beautiful and elegant silver-robed lady, her voice contained a will that could not be defied. Su Yan did not expect the Tower of Trials to have such a rule. Is there a corresponding book? To ensure that nothing went wrong, Su Yan asked. She shook her head and said, the first volume of the art of mystical arrays, together with the spirit-gathering array. As long as you have enough comprehension, you can deduce the spirit-gathering array. All right. Su Yan took a deep breath. He sat cross-legged near the spirit-gathering array and closed his eyes. In his mind, boundless divine soul power erupted. A golden divine mark flashed on his forehead, as if a golden lightning bolt had been activated. Su Yan's spiritual soul had already undergone a metamorphosis. The power of his spiritual soul spread out, giving him a panoramic view of the operation of the spirit-gathering array. Not bad. The corners of Su Yan's mouth curled up into a smile. With the strength of his soul, his deduction speed had increased by a lot. He felt that the spirit-gathering array was not difficult. He should be able to copy it in 10 days. Su Yan has passed the 8th floor. Unbelievable. He didn't even spend an hour. How did Su Yan do it? The entire Huaxia University was in an uproar. Even Lu Qingtian was shocked. Wasn't this too fast? Just how powerful was Su Yan's deduction ability? The 8th level was easily cleared. Elder Liang was very excited. Su Yan had already obtained the strongest cultivation technique. After all, the contract did not say that Su Yan had passed the 9th floor. It said that he only needed to enter the 9th floor. With the help of the strongest cultivation technique, his future cultivation at Huaxia University would be smooth sailing. In the future, he would have a high chance of reaching the realm of the strong. Tung Ingjia, who had just arrived at the Tower of Trials, was stunned when he heard the words of the manager. Su Yan had actually passed. This is the 8th floor. He passed the 8th floor. Tung Ingjia was doubting his life. Lei Lao had said that the Tower of Trials was very difficult because it tested one's perception. Why did Huaxia University place such importance on it? It was because the second mutation of the Earth was directly related to perception. Whoever had a higher perception would be able to go further in the future. The changes in the Tower of Trials shook the entire school. Some people speculated that Jing Yanghui's title as the #1 core disciple was no longer guaranteed. It was very likely that it would be snatched away by Su Yan again. Jing Yanghui's head was about to explode. If Su Yan became #1, then his assessment to become a gold student would be delayed indefinitely. He could only wait for Su Yan to become a gold student before he could take the assessment. He could not afford to wait that long. Oh, you said that Su Yan passed the 8th floor? Interesting. Jiang Wuhan was wearing a golden robe. He was majestic. Jing Yanghui did not even dare to breathe loudly in front of him. He told him his difficulties. This is nothing, Jiang Wuhan said in an unusually calm tone. This Su Yan's talent is not bad. We can rope him in. He has Tang Yi behind him, Jing Yanghui hurriedly said, and Tian Hua has a grudge with him. How can Su Yan join us? It's just a small matter, Jiang Wuhan said indifferently. It's just Tang Yi. I can crush him with my little finger. This is nothing. I will let Su Yan come here. Later, I will invite him here. You will go personally. Jing Yanghui's face turned ugly. Jiang Wuhan wanted him to go personally. He was asking him to bow his head. Don't be unwilling. With Su Yan under my command, your promotion to gold student will not be delayed. Jiang Wuhan was full of confidence. He had the power to control the situation. He said indifferently, I will ask him to stop challenging the Tower of Trials. When you become a gold student, he will be allowed to challenge again. When Su Yan passes, the next one will be Tung Ingjia. It seems that our young, strong faction will be the champion of the core disciples for the 3rd time in a row. Jiang Wuhan was sketching out his grand future. Su Yan had not agreed yet, but he had already begun to manipulate him. What if Su Yan passes the 10th floor? Jing Yanghui asked before leaving. Jiang Wuhan's eyes flashed coldly. He said, "Do you think anyone can pass the 10th floor of the Tower of Trials? Look at yourself. Don't always believe in miracles." "That's true." Jing Yonghui smiled bitterly. He did not dare to disagree with Jiang Wuhan's words. However, if he had to bow his head to Su Yin, he could not forget the humiliation he felt the last time he had to bow his head to Tang Yi. But this time it was Su Yin. The result was very different. Time passed day after day. Every day was unbearable for some people. They want to know how Su Yan's results were. On the third night, at the top of Hidden Dragon Mountain, a wail like that of a pig being slaughtered could be heard. "Su Yin, you goddamn bastard, goddamn bastard." The fat man's beast blood was boiling. Blood was spurting out his nose. He had stewed a large pot. He had been tricked into crying by Su Yin. He could not rest for the entire night and almost tore down the entire house. "Who's thinking of me?" In the 9th level of the training tower, Su Yin shivered. His eyes did not blink as he stared at the formation on the ground that was rapidly dimming. In these 3 days, Su Yin had been trying to comprehend the spirit gathering array. He had tried over a dozen times, but all of them ended in failure. Su Yin was not in a hurry. Only 3 days had passed, but his grasp of the spirit gathering array's marks had improved by leaps and bounds. He closed his eyes and visualized the first volume of the Mystic Arts Array Tao. In the 3 months in the wilderness, Su Yin could already use the first volume's rough array marks as he wished. The Spirit Gathering Array was an even more complicated array mark construction method. However, these complicated array marks were all formed from the most superficial array marks. In the sea of consciousness, in the dark space, Su Yan's phantom sat cross-legged inside. His body flashed with array marks. They were densely packed and intertwined in the void. He was using his powerful soul to deduce the construction method of the Spirit Gathering Array. On this night, Su Yan's soul was greatly depleted. He closed his eyes and rested. During the night, he began to deduce once again. All kinds of shallow array marks were quickly combined together. Suddenly, Su Yin recalled the inheritance in the black, or when he was training in the wilderness, he had opened it more than once to observe it. Although the inheritance in the black, or was very grand, it gave Su Yin great inspiration in the area of deducing the array Tao. The Spirit Gathering Array gathers the power of heaven and earth. When it involves the power of heaven and earth, I was wondering why I kept failing. Su Yin smiled. He quickly found the reason why he failed. "Let's begin. It's already been 5 days. I still have 5 days." Su Yin took in a deep breath. He bent his finger and pointed. His entire finger faintly turned into a writing brush. His fingertip was surrounded by a formation mark light beam. The moment he pointed it at the ground, he began to draw and draw. The array marks that the Spirit Gathering Array needed to be inscribed were very complicated. Every time he imitated, it consumed a lot of his mental strength and internal energy. If only I had a pen. It would be very easy. I wonder if there is a pen that specializes in inscribing array marks? Su Yin murmured in his heart. His hand continued to move. His inscribing speed was very fast. Patches of array marks were quickly inscribed on the ground by him. It was densely packed, like an array diagram. Su Yan's forehead was sweating. The consumption was too great. It mainly consumed his soul. He had to concentrate on imitating every stroke. Once he failed, all his previous efforts would be wasted. An hour later, Su Yin had reached the finishing stage. His face was pale. He was very tired and wished he could sleep. Just a little bit more. Hold on. Sweat flowed down his nose and onto the ground. Drop after drop, it swirled in the empty space. When the last stroke of the Spirit Gathering Array was inscribed, this ordinary array diagram was like the finishing touch. It was blazing brilliantly. Wong. All the array marks intertwined together. It attracted the power of heaven and earth. It was as if thousands of threads were intertwined. It was filled with a powerful and shocking suction force. Boom! Layer after layer of heaven and earth essence from all directions quickly gathered towards the Spirit Gathering Array that Su Yin had inscribed. It began to gather at lightning speed. What a powerful Spirit Gathering Array! Su Yan's face was full of smiles. Just this method alone was enough to make a living in the Huaxia Alliance. He stared at the spirit-gathering array he had carved and studied it. About 2 hours later, the heaven and earth essence chi inside the array began to be saturated. He walked into the spirit-gathering array and sensed it. He found that the essence chi inside was twice as dense as outside. It's almost doubled. If I inscribed the spirit-gathering array in the treasure cave, it would be even stronger. But the lowest level spirit-gathering array shouldn't be able to withstand the impact of the rich energy in the treasure cave. Su Yin looked at the spirit-gathering array on the 9th floor. He found that between the two, the spirit-gathering array on the 9th floor was relatively stronger. This is my first time. The next time I inscribe, I will have more experience. It will definitely be stronger. Su Yin couldn't help but sigh. The art of array formation was broad and profound. The silver-robed woman said that this was the simplest. Then how strong would a profound array formation be? A powerful spirit-gathering array must be even more amazing. I thought I would have to stay in the hospital for a day. There are some tests that I can't do. I'll go tomorrow. This year has been especially difficult. I'm quite successful, but my family is not. After hearing what the doctor said yesterday, I took a long time to recover. I hope the tests are done. Chapter 57. The silver-robed woman was elegant and refined. She looked at Su Yin and said softly, "Not bad. You can go to the 10th level now. Did you bring enough ores?" "Ores?" Su Yin was stunned. "What ores?" She frowned and said, "It seems like you don't know much about arrays. You will need ores for the next level. It doesn't have to be of high quality, just ordinary ones will do." Su Yin smiled bitterly. "I really don't know. I will go out and buy some now." "Don't worry," the silver-robed woman said slowly. "Before you go to the 10th level, I have to tell you that the inheritance test will take a long time. You will have to stay here for at least a few months." "A few months?" Su Yin frowned. That was a bit long. He had spent 6 days on the 9th level, and the time limit was 10 days. Even if Su Yin's deduction ability was strong, it would still take him a few months. Su Yin felt that it would be better to wait until he reached the Life Spring realm before challenging the Tower of Trials. The Tower of Trials also had a rule that no one could leave during the test. Otherwise, they would have to start all over again. The silver-robed woman also wouldn't force Su Yin to take the test. He could only choose to leave the Tower of Trials. After coming out, as Su Yin had expected, these students looked at him with different gazes. After all, there were very few who could reach the 9th level, especially since he had accumulated a lot of points on the 9th level. He was comparable to the gold students, and even surpassed some of the gold students. 9,900 points. Oh my God, he almost reached the 10th level. The entire Huaxia University was like an earthquake. The 3 vice deans were all shocked. Even Lei Lao was somewhat dazed. How could Tung Yingjie surpass Su Yin? He was about to cross the 9th level and enter the 10th level. Once Su Yin entered the 10th level, no matter how low his cultivation was, he would still be a gold student. Tung Yingjie was still a distance away from becoming a gold student, but Su Yin was already within reach. Su Yin. Jing Yonghui's sudden arrival silenced the crowd. Who didn't know that Jing Yonghui and Su Yin had a grudge against each other? What was he doing here? With Su Yin's current results, he wasn't someone that anyone could mess with. Su Yin turned his head and looked at Jing Yonghui. Noticing his ugly expression, Su Yin frowned and asked, "What's the matter?" Jing Yonghui's heart was boiling with anger. Before he could say anything, Elder Liang walked over and said with a smile, "Su Yin, come with me. We're going to Scripture Pavilion." "Sorry to trouble you, Elder Liang." Su Yin nodded. It was time to choose a cultivation technique. "Wait," Jing Yonghui said through gritted teeth. "Huh?" Elder Liang's face fell as he said, "Jing Yonghui, what are you doing?" "Elder Liang, you've misunderstood." Jing Yonghui didn't dare to offend Elder Liang. He was one of the stewards of the college. He quickly walked up to Su Yin and squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying. He said, "Su Yin, senior brother is looking for you." "Jiang Wuhan is looking for Su Yin?" Elder Liang's expression changed. Jiang Wuhan was looking for Su Yin? He was the student of war god Zhu Yin. He was one of the strongest students in Huaxia University. Other than the three vice deans and Xiaze, he had the highest status in the college. Jiang Wuhan is looking for me? Su Yan's heart sank. Could it be that Dao Zhu had noticed him? He felt that it was impossible. He hadn't even seen Zhu Yan before. But why was Jiang Wuhan looking for him? His heart began to stir. Jiang Wuhan was one of Zhu Yan's people. Perhaps he could understand Zhu Yan's current situation through Jiang Wuhan. Su Yan, senior brother, is looking for you. Naturally, it's a good thing. We'll be on the same side in the future. You don't have to be so restrained when you see senior brother. Jing Yanghui's words were getting smoother and smoother. The people around them were petrified. Jing Yanghui had lowered his head. He actually lowered his head. Even Elder Liang was a little shocked. However, he understood that with Jing Yanghui's personality, he wouldn't lower his head. Jiang Wuhan must have made a move. Jiang Wuhan was trying to rope in Su Yan and get him to join his camp. Su Yan, I'll go with you. Elder Liang's words made Su Yan relax a little. After all, this was a matter of great importance. It was related to his biggest secret. With Elder Liang following him, he felt a lot more at ease. All right, Elder Liang, Su Yan, come with me. Jing Yanghui appeared to be very polite. If he messed up this matter, Jiang Wuhan wouldn't let him off easily. Senior brother is actually letting Su Yan go. Su Yan's talent has alarmed senior brother. Senior brother is the student of war god Zhu Yan. Su Yan is too amazing. Maybe Su Yan will have a chance to meet war god Zhu Yan. None of the students present didn't want to get close to Jiang Wuhan. After all, Zhu Yan was a legend, a war god, and the strongest person in the Huaxia Alliance. Su Yan, although I'm not sure why Jiang Wuhan is looking for you, Elder Liang said telepathically. But you don't have to be nervous. There are some things that you need to think carefully before making a decision. Don't agree rashly. I understand, Su Yan replied telepathically. Before he came, Tang Yi had told him that Jiang Wuhan was definitely the leader of Huaxia University's youth faction. If Su Yan joined the youth faction, he reckoned that Yi Yuan would be very angry. Of course, Su Yan wouldn't join the youth faction. The residence of the gold students was Divine Dragon Mountain, which was the strongest training ground in the Huaxia University. The essence of heaven and earth here was twice as abundant as that of Hidden Dragon Mountain. Su Yan felt that this was the core area of the dragon vein. Otherwise, the essence of heaven and earth wouldn't be so abnormal. Jiang Wuhan's residence was at the peak of Divine Dragon Mountain, in a magnificent hall. Outside the hall, there were many young men and women. Su Yan looked around and felt a little strange. These should be the servants of Jiang Wuhan, but he noticed that there were quite a few Life Spring realm experts among them. Su Yan, go in. After you're done, go to the scripture pavilion. I'll wait for you here. Old Liang didn't choose to go in. Su Yan nodded and entered the Golden Hall with Jing Yanghui. The extravagance of this place was beyond Su Yan's expectations. Compared to this place, Lei Lao's residence was like a thatched cottage. Su Yan felt as if he had come to a palace. There were many small courtyards in the hall, and each courtyard had a garden and a viewing platform. At the entrance of each courtyard, there were young girls standing there like maids. This is really an eye-opener. Su Yan looked around with interest. Jiang Wuhan's residence was like a palace. He really knew how to enjoy life. After walking through 9 courtyards, they arrived at the last hall. Su Yan felt the essence of heaven and earth rushing towards him like a tide. It was even more turbulent than the treasure cave in his residence. His eyes were filled with shock. Below the courtyard, there was a giant treasure cave. Su Yan stepped into the hall. The scene inside was hard to forget. Inside the hall, there were richly ornamented beams and painted rafters. It shone with gold and jade, exuding a noble atmosphere. Whether it was the furnishings or the decorations, the degree of grandeur subverted Su Yan's thoughts. But this wasn't much. There were groups of beautiful women in the hall, all of them wearing revealing clothes. Su Yan swept his eyes over them and felt as if he had returned to 100 years ago when he was watching a car show. These women all had impressive figures and were extremely beautiful. Their skin was as white as snow, and he even saw a few Life Spring beauties. This extravagance, it's invincible. Su Yan sucked in a breath of cold air. This Jiang Wuhan was really extravagant. These women all seemed to be his women. At this time, Su Yan's eyes looked up. There was a young man with a dignified appearance. He wore a golden robe and sat high up. He was also sizing up Su Yan. "Greetings, senior apprentice brother." Su Yan went up and said, "Have a seat." Jiang Wuhan waved his hand and said in a dignified manner. A group of beautiful women walked over, each of them flirtatiously beckoning Su Yan to sit down. "Su Yan, you're treated better than me. I've never sat here with senior apprentice brother before," Jing Yonghui said half-jokingly, as if he and Su Yan had buried the hatchet. His eyes scanned the various beauties in the hall. Of the women who could be by Jiang Wuhan's side, which one of them wasn't of the highest quality? How could an ordinary person see such a scene? How many people could withstand it? Jing Yonghui instantly saw Jiang Wuhan's determination to win over Su Yan. With such a grand display, he didn't believe that Su Yan wouldn't be moved. Anyone with a discerning eye could see Jiang Wuhan's power and status. "Thank you, senior apprentice brother." Su Yan sat down calmly and asked, "I wonder what senior apprentice brother has asked me to come here for. I heard that you have some conflict with Jing Yonghui." Jiang Wuhan stood up, but he was still standing at a high vantage point, overlooking the entire hall. He slowly said, "I've already told him that we're all brothers. It's not good to fight. Senior apprentice brother is right. Jing Yonghui was too narrow-minded. Actually, I don't have much of a grudge with brother Su Yan," Jing Yonghui hurriedly said. That's good." Jiang Wuhan looked at Su Yan and said, "Su Yan, you're very good. The Academy has rewarded you with the strongest cultivation techniques. Which one are you going to choose?" "Senior apprentice brother, I don't know much about these two cultivation techniques," Su Yan said calmly. "Does senior apprentice brother have any advice for me?" "The two great cultivation techniques are the golden crow burning sky technique and the art of primordial chaos," Jiang Wuhan said indifferently. "The two great cultivation techniques are almost the same. I cultivate the golden crow burning sky technique. Su Yan's talent in the awakening realm is not bad. You should choose the golden crow burning sky technique. I can teach you for a while." "Senior apprentice brother, you're too biased," Jing Yonghui said with a wry smile. "You didn't teach me anything? Su Yan has just arrived, and you want to teach him the golden crow burning sky technique. If you were as good as Su Yan, would I need you to take the initiative to mention it?" Jiang Wuhan smiled. Su Yan, who was sitting at the side, understood. However, he didn't expect that Jiang Wuhan's desire to control was so strong that he had already started to choose cultivation techniques for him. Speaking of which, Jiang Wuhan said in an unquestionable tone, "Su Yan, you almost ruined my grand plan." Waves of terrifying power spread out from his body, causing the beauties in the field to almost fall to the ground. Even Su Yan felt a suffocating pressure. This Jiang Wuhan's strength was extremely tyrannical. Seeing Su Yan still so calm, Jiang Wuhan frowned and said coldly, "Su Yan, this year's Jing Yonghui is about to take the gold student exam. Jing Yonghui, Su Yan, Tung Ingjia, the three of you have occupied first place for 3 years in a row. You can take away a lot of resources. The key is the origin essence stones." Su Yan's heart sank. They were blatantly plundering the Academy's resources. When he thought of the soul cultivation liquid that Lu Chengtan had given him for free, Su Yan looked at Jiang Wuhan and felt extremely uncomfortable. He even felt disgusted. "Wait a moment. Jing Yonghui will go first. You will be second. Tung Yingjia will be behind you." Jiang Wuhan smiled and said, "Speaking of which, I understand a little about the conflict between you and Tianhua. Is there a need to act like this because of an origin essence stone? I will talk to Tao Tianhua and make him stop." If it were an ordinary disciple, they would definitely be grateful to Jiang Wuhan after hearing these words. After all, Tao Tianhua's underhanded moves were impossible to guard against. Chapter 58. Jiang Wuhan was somewhat surprised by Su Yan's calm demeanor. This youth was somewhat different from the ones he had interacted with before. The last time Tung Yingjie had come to his palace, Tang Yingjie had been subdued by him with just a few words. By the way, Su Yin, Tang Yingjie, and Bai Minjing have always been engaged. Jiang Wuhan's eyes flashed, and he looked at the beauties in the hall. He smiled and said, "They're just beauties." "What are they?" "If you want the beauties here, you can take them away. I'll give them to you." These words made Jing Yanghui's mouth dry up. "Eldest senior brother, I, Su Yin, appreciate your kindness." Su Yin slowly stood up, looked at Jiang Wuhan, and said, "I don't have any other relationship with Bai Minjing. Minjing has her own choices, and I don't think anyone else has the right to interfere with her. I will think about what eldest senior brother has said and consider it." Jiang Wuhan's expression changed slightly, and his entire body involuntarily emitted waves of divine power. A golden divine light burned behind him, and a faint golden crow seemed to want to break free from the space and soar into the sky. The entire hall was filled with divine power, and the air was suffocating. There was also a wisp of anger venting out. He had been in a high position for a long time, and he was also the student of war god Zhu Yan. Jiang Wuhan's words would even be seriously considered by the 3 deputy deans. But was Su Yan one of the 3 deputy deans? "Su Yan, how can you speak to eldest senior brother like that?" Jing Yanghui raised his eyebrows and shouted, "You still want to consider it? Eldest senior brother personally helped you resolve your grudges and taught you the golden crow burning sky technique. How can you be short of all kinds of resources? What are you dissatisfied with?" "Dissatisfied?" Su Yin smiled and said, "Jing Yanghui, did I say I was dissatisfied? I have to consider such a big matter. Moreover, whether or not I can obtain the golden crow burning sky technique is another matter." At least you know your place." Jing Yanghui was infuriated. Although Su Yin had received a reward, whether or not Su Yin had received the recognition of the 2 strongest cultivation methods was another matter altogether. "Jing Yanghui, why are you still being so sarcastic? Eldest senior brother has already said that we have already buried the hatchet. You are not behaving like a senior brother." Su Yin replied calmly. Did he have a grudge against Jing Yanghui? It should be Jing Yanghui who had a grudge against him. Jing Yanghui had been beaten up by him twice, and his title as the #1 core disciple had been snatched away by Su Yin. There was no need to mention how much Jing Yanghui hated Su Yin. Moreover, he had also bowed his head to Tang Yi last time. There was a faint trace of pity in Su Yan's eyes. The 2 words senior brother caused Jing Yanghui to fly into a rage. What kind of senior brother was he? Su Yin had already surpassed him in the ranking of core disciples. "That's enough. Su Yin, you can go back first." Jiang Wuhan's voice was faintly cold. "Eldest senior brother, I'll take my leave first. I'll come visit another day." Su Yin pushed open the door and left, disappearing from the hall with old Liang. In the hall, the atmosphere was stifling. The group of beauties were all dazzling. Everyone could feel Jiang Wuhan's anger. Once it erupted, they would all be burned to ashes. What a good Su Yin! Jiang Wuhan's eyes flashed with a cold light. Now that he thought back to the conversation just now, he realized that he hadn't gotten any answers. This made him very angry, but Su Yan's status was different now, so he couldn't vent his anger. "Eldest senior brother, what should we do with this Su Yin?" Jing Yanghui asked. Let him be. If he doesn't follow us, he'll be nothing more than an ant in the future. There's no need to worry about him." Jiang Wuhan didn't particularly care. Su Yan's talent was strong, but it was far from being a threat to them. Earth was about to undergo a second metamorphosis. Only Zhu Yin would be the future ruler of Earth. Old Liang didn't ask about the content of their conversation. He brought him all the way to the Scripture Pavilion. The Scripture Pavilion was an important place in Huaxia University. It was also the place where Huaxia University's inheritance was passed down. Inside was a collection of decades of Huaxia University's painstaking efforts. There were also various cultivation methods and secret manuals excavated from ancient ruins. Quick look at Su Yin. The current Su Yin was very famous. When the students in the Scripture Pavilion saw him, they were all envious. With Su Yan's ranking in the Tower of Trials, it was enough for him to cultivate the best cultivation methods and martial skills. After all, The ranking in the Tower of Trials could be understood as a ranking of perception. The higher the perception, the higher the ranking. The scripture pavilion was very large. There were a total of 3 floors. Just the first floor alone had tens of thousands of secret manuals and cultivation methods. There were many disciples here. When these people saw that old Liang had brought Su Yin to the 3rd level, they were all dumbfounded. There were only 2 books of the strongest cultivation methods on the 3rd level. The number of students who had been able to enter the 3rd level could be counted. If it's true, then Su Yin has already obtained the opportunity to cultivate the strongest cultivation method. The strongest cultivation method. In the future, Su Yin will definitely soar to the heavens. Many disciples were shocked. If this news spread, it would cause a huge commotion. Of the 2 strongest cultivation methods in the school, the eldest senior brother cultivated the golden crow burning sky technique. It was said that the dean cultivated the primordial singular energy technique. Su Yin has the qualifications to cultivate the strongest cultivation method. Tung Yingjie and Zhuo Wenyao's expressions were ugly. They were both geniuses, but now Su Yin had become the number 1 core disciple. I will let the school know that entering the Tower of Trials doesn't mean anything. Tung Yingjie angrily said, even if Su Yin has the qualifications, it doesn't mean that he will be recognized by the strongest cultivation method. How can the strongest cultivation method be so easy to cultivate? The school was in chaos. Yuan's messy hair draped over his shoulders. He looked at the scripture pavilion and muttered to himself, the world is cold and warm. People will grow after experiencing setbacks. Su Yin has such a strong foundation. It's not a bad thing for him to experience more. Yuan was paying attention to Su Yin. He was very clear that Su Yin's selection of cultivation methods would not be so smooth. When he arrived at the 3rd floor, what surprised Su Yin was that there was an old man in a bagua robe standing there. Su Yin greets the vice principal. His expression was respectful. This was Lu Changtian, the peak rank 3 alchemist who gave him the soul cultivation liquid for free. He was a famous figure in the Huaxia Alliance and was only 2nd to the top 10 experts. No need to be so polite. Lu Qingtian nodded and pointed to the front. Go over there and see if you can cause the cultivation method to fluctuate. Su Yan's eyes fell on the 2 ancient stone platforms in front of him. The fluctuations coming from each platform were different. The first stone platform emitted a golden light. A golden jade scroll floated above it, giving off a hazy and blazing aura. The second stone platform seemed to be evolving on its own. He could faintly feel an aura soaring into the sky, piercing through the starry sky. The golden crow burning the heavens and the art of mixed yuan. These 2 cultivation methods were the 2 strongest cultivation methods in Huaxia University. In the entire Huaxia Alliance, there was no cultivation method that could surpass them. Even if there was, it would be an equivalent cultivation method. Vice Principal, what should I do? Su Yin asked. Lu Qingtian smiled faintly. Don't be nervous. Release your aura. If the cultivation method thinks that you can cultivate it, it will release its power. Okay. Su Yin appeared beside the golden crow, burning the heaven stone platform, and sat down cross-legged. His body suddenly awakened, as if a sealed volcano was opening. What great Su Yin! Lu Qingtian's heart trembled. He couldn't see through Su Yin or his body. How strong was his body? Yuan. Oh, Yuan, you have accepted a good student. Lu Qingtian sucked in a breath of cold air. Others didn't understand Yuan, but he, Lu Qingtian, knew very well that Su Yin could be a disciple of Yuan. This was his good fortune. Just as Su Yan's body was awakened, the golden crow burning the heavens roared. The golden jade strip emitted a blazing light that reached the heavens. The jade strip automatically manifested complex characters that floated in the air and turned into an immemorial golden crow that looked down on the 9 heavens and 10 earths. What? Elder Liang was instantly petrified. His eyes were wide open. Even Jiang Wuhan didn't cause the golden crow burning the heavens to erupt with such a strong reaction. Okay. Lu Qingtian sucked in a breath of cold air and quickly took out his communicator to send a message. Su Yin, do you have the Golden Crow bloodline? Elder Liang asked. Su Yin shook his head and said, I don't know what my bloodline is like. How about this? Try the primordial singular energy art. If there is no reaction from the primordial singular energy art, you should have the Golden Crow bloodline. A smile appeared on Elder Liang's face. The Golden Crow bloodline was a very powerful bloodline. Su Yin appeared in front of the second stone platform. He sat down cross-legged, and his body emitted a brilliant light. Just like the Golden Crow burning the heavens, the primordial singular energy art also awakened. The black jade strip gushed with scriptures, and a faint dragon-like aura pierced through the heavens. Lu Qingtian was stunned. The two great cultivation techniques had both erupted with the strongest reaction. He had never seen such a scene before, not even once. Logically speaking, the different attributes of a human body shouldn't have caused a reaction between the two cultivation techniques. However, Su Yin had done it. Can I practice two types of cultivation techniques? Su Yan's words left Elder Liang speechless. Not only could it be, the two strongest cultivation techniques had the highest compatibility with Su Yin. This was very important. Even if some people could cause a reaction from the strongest cultivation technique, it would be difficult to cultivate it. It would be better for them to choose a lower cultivation technique. Su Yin. Lu Qingtian received the signal from his communicator, and a smile appeared on his aged face. He said, Let me tell you something. I just sent a message to the Dean, and he has agreed to give you the draconic energy in advance. Elder Liang took in a cold breath. The Academy was really going all out. The draconic energy was the most important for opening the life spring. Once Su Yin opened the life spring, the effects of the draconic energy would be greatly reduced. Thank you, Vice Dean. Thank you, Dean. Su Yan's face was filled with gratitude. You deserve it. There's no need to thank me. Lu Qingtian's eyes scanned the two cultivation techniques and smiled. I suggest you choose the primordial singular energy art. Although the Golden Crow burning the heavens art is powerful, it's not very popular. However, the primordial singular energy art is different. The Dean cultivates the primordial singular energy art. Su Yin felt the same. The Golden Crow burning the heavens art focused on the fire attribute, and its greatest effect was to temper the body. Chapter 59. Su Yin held the art of primordial singular energy in his hand and sent his spiritual energy into the jade slip. The jade slip was used to record important words and could be preserved for a long time. Su Yan's spiritual energy entered a world of scriptures, and the art of primordial singular energy rapidly appeared in his eyes. The stronger the scripture, the more likely it was to cause a phenomenon. This was something that a powerhouse had painstakingly engraved, and each word contained their spirit and will. The initial stage, the life spring stage. So the next stage is the weapon building stage. Su Yin was amazed. The life spring stage was 9 stages, and each step was like ascending to the heavens. The peak of the 9th stage was already extremely powerful, and the 3 vice presidents were all at the peak of the 9th stage. Once one stepped into this secret realm, the divine energy in their body would be as vigorous as a river. Just thinking about it made one realize how amazing it was. But the next stage was the weapon building stage. Su Yin guessed that perhaps the president was at the weapon building stage, and the top 10 powerhouses of the Huaxia Alliance should also be at the weapon building stage. This stage was extremely difficult to cross, and was the strongest stage on Earth. But dozens of years had passed, and some of the top 10 powerhouses had fallen. As for how many were left, it was unknown. This was the top secret of the Huaxia Alliance. After all, if this matter were to be leaked, it would attract the attention of the monster kings of the wilderness. What were monster kings? They were existences similar to the top 10 powerhouses of humanity and possessed extremely high intelligence. So the life spring is hidden in the Qi Sea, and the Qi Sea is in the abdomen. If one wants to open the life spring, they need to find the source of the Qi Sea. This way, they can find traces of the life spring within the Qi Sea. The life spring is a person's life. The stronger the life spring, the longer one's lifespan and strength will increase. The art of primordial singular energy cultivates the life spring within the body and finally transforms it into a chi that pierces through the heavens. This art of primordial singular energy also hides a divine ability, but why do I feel that this divine ability is similar to the dragon form that Teacher studied? Su Yin muttered in his heart, Teacher is so strong. So what if he saw the art of primordial singular energy? I wonder what stage Teacher is at. Could he be at the weapon-building stage? An overlord comparable to a monster king? Su Yin thought about it and felt that it was highly possible. Due to the environment of the world, there was no Tao in the world. Therefore, no matter how terrifying an existence was, it was impossible for it to surpass the weapon-building realm. Su Yin had studied the primordial singular energy art for 2 days and had a general understanding of the early stages of the cultivation method. With the strength of his soul, it shouldn't be difficult for him to sense the life springs. It's starting so soon. Lu Qingtian was astonished. Just how strong was Su Yan's perception? Back when Zhang Wuhan was cultivating the Golden Crow Burning Sky mantra, it took him 10 days to open his life springs. Buzz! Suddenly, Su Yan's body glowed. Waves of soul energy poured down from his forehead. When he looked inside his body, he found a golden divine mark on his forehead. Lu Qingtian was moved. Su Yan's soul energy was very strong. If he could study alchemy, he would definitely have achievements in this field in the future. The Qi Sea was mysterious and unfathomable. Just like the fleshly body, it contained boundless potential. The Sea of Qi looked very ordinary, but when Su Yin used his soul energy to sense the direction of the Sea of Qi according to the cultivation method, he was shocked to find that the source of the Sea of Qi was like a boundless starry sky. How can it be so big? Su Yin was shocked. His soul entered the source of the Sea of Qi. Although the Sea of Qi was empty, it still existed. Su Yan's Sea of Qi was chaotic, like an unopened universe. In this chaotic Sea of Qi, Su Yin desperately searched for the whereabouts of the life springs. Only by finding the life springs and opening it could he use his soul energy to penetrate the Sea of Qi and strengthen his source of life. However, Su Yin searched and searched and searched with all his might, but he still couldn't find the whereabouts of the life springs. Moreover, the vastness of the Sea of Qi was beyond his expectations. In the chaos, Su Yin was lost and couldn't find the way back. Lu Qingtian and old Liang waited patiently. It had been almost a day. They frowned. With Su Yan's soul energy, it should be easy for him to find the Sea of Qi and dig out the life springs. When they saw Su Yan's pale face, they had a bad premonition. When Su Yan's soul energy was exhausted, he tiredly opened his eyes. Su Yan, what happened? Old Liang asked anxiously, Why is your soul exhausted? Didn't you see the life springs? Think carefully and tell me slowly. Lu Qingtian took a deep breath. He had a bad premonition. Su Yin was very tired. He was lost in the Sea of Qi and only returned after his soul energy was exhausted. It's different from what was recorded in the records. My Sea of Qi is very big. Su Yin hesitated for a while and said, It's like a universe. I can't find the end, and I can't sense the Sea of Qi. What? Old Liang was dumbfounded. He had never heard of such a thing. Lu Qingtian's expression was normal as he continued. Recover first, and then try again. Some people's Sea of Qi is very special, and it's not easy to find it. Don't be impatient. Yes, Vice Dean. Su Yin nodded and sat there cross-legged. He used the soul-refining art to guide the essence Qi of the universe to recover his soul energy. 3 hours later, he was full of energy. He took out the mixed Yuan Qi and read it a few more times. When he found that his method wasn't wrong, he recovered his soul energy and searched for the life springs. In the chaos, chanting sounds could be heard. Su Yin aimlessly searched for traces of his life spring. His god soul was like a small boat, searching with great difficulty in the chaotic sea. Time passed just like that. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. It had been almost 10 days since Su Yin came to the scripture pavilion. Those who were paying attention to him were very impatient. It's been 10 days, and he still hasn't come out? It seems like Su Yan's perception isn't that strong. Even old Lei had personally made a trip there. The conclusion he obtained made him feel somewhat regretful, but he was also pleasantly surprised. This was because Su Yan had been unable to find the life spring. I thought he was a monster, but it seems like he's walking the same path as Yi Yuan. How can he be compared to Teng? Lei Lao sneered. No wonder he could defeat Jing Yangyu. It turns out that Su Yan is walking the path of body refining. In the end, this matter still spread out and caused a huge commotion. Su Yan had actually not opened his life spring. Like teacher, like disciple. Don't you know what Yi Yuan is like? What's funny is that Su Yan is also walking the same path. It turns out that he's the same as Su Yan and can't open his life springs. It's unbelievable. Su Yan is now the #1 core disciple, but he can't open his life springs. Even if Su Yan's battle strength isn't weak, he won't achieve much in the future. The college was abuzz with gossip. Some felt pity, some were surprised, and some felt that it wasn't worth it. The title of genius seemed to have disappeared overnight. This is soul-strengthening liquid. Lu Qingtian took out a jade bottle and said, "Drink it and it will strengthen your divine soul. However, your divine soul will be damaged, and you'll need a rest for a few days." 10 days. Even Su Yan had people doubting whether he had a life spring or not. He could cultivate the strongest cultivation techniques in the college and even change to the golden crow burning sky technique. However, he still couldn't feel the existence of a life spring. Could it be that he didn't have a life spring? Could he only walk the path of body refining? Su Yan raised his head and drank. In that instant, his divine soul was strengthened by a notch, and so was his divine soul's perception. Su Yan crazily crashed into his sea of qi. Because of a strengthening of his divine soul, Su Yan's searching speed increased. However, he was about to despair. There was chaos everywhere, and no light could be seen. "I don't have a life spring," Su Yan muttered to himself. He still failed and couldn't find a trace of a life spring. His mood fell to the bottom of the valley. "You go down first." Lu Qingtian looked at Elder Liang, who had a complicated expression. Elder Liang knew what this meant to Su Yan. Although Su Yan could use the body refining technique to become stronger, it would be difficult for him to achieve much in the future. "Are you discouraged?" Lu Qingtian looked at Su Yan, and a smile appeared on his old face. "That's true. This is a big blow to you. Vice Principal, do I really not have a life spring?" Su Yan didn't believe it. A life spring was the lifeblood of a person. How could one live without a life spring? Hearing this, Lu Qingtian sighed. "You do, but it's not that you don't have one. It might be a problem with your cultivation technique or your divine soul. More likely, your life spring is very special. No matter how special it is, it shouldn't be like this. I can't even find it." Su Yan grabbed his hair and felt frustrated. If he couldn't open his life spring, the path of an expert would be too far away. How could an expert find his sister's whereabouts and find out what happened to him back then? "There's someone like you." Lu Qingtian suddenly laughed. Hearing this, Su Yan's pupils shrank. "Teacher, Yi Yuan." "That's right. Go back first and ask your teacher." Lu Qingtian said, "I'll keep the dragon fountain chi for you for now, but it won't last more than 2 years. Su Yan, don't be discouraged. The path of an expert isn't that easy." "Thank you, Vice Principal. I won't give up like this." Su Yan took a deep breath and stood up. He bowed respectfully to the Vice Principal and walked down the stairs. "He's much more tenacious than I thought. He's such a good kid. Don't give up on him." Lu Qingtian sighed. He couldn't forget how Yi Yuan was like back then. That incident had dealt a heavy blow to Yi Yuan. Originally, he thought that he wouldn't be able to recover from it. Who knew that Yi Yuan would be able to stand up again? However, many things happened later on. Lu Qingtian felt that it was a pity. Walking out of the scripture pavilion, Su Yan looked around and shook his head slightly. It was different from 10 days ago. At that time, many students would greet him. Now, their gazes were cold, and there were some who looked at him with pity. What did it mean for a student with great potential like him to not be able to open his life spring? They knew clearly that in the future, Su Yan and them would be in 2 different worlds. Su Yan took a deep breath. It would be a lie to say that he didn't care. He calmed himself down and opened his communication device. There were messages from the fatty, Lin Wanlan, and Xia Yang. Seeing the encouraging messages from the fatty and Lin Wanlan, Su Yan's heart was filled with warmth. When he saw Xia Yang's message, Su Yan wasn't surprised. Brother, it seems like the higher-ups aren't going to give you the 3 treasures. Damn it. Don't take these snobs to heart. Create a miracle in the future and give them a slap in the face. Su Yan suppressed his emotions. Just as he was about to return to his residence, Yi Yuan sent him a message asking him to go to his residence. I'll go look for the teacher. Su Yan quickly left. The group of people shook their heads. From a genius to a piece of trash, no matter how strong a person's heart was, it was difficult for them to accept this. Yi Yuan's residence. What surprised Su Yan was that it was an inconspicuous bamboo house in the corner of Huaxia University. Su Yan took a deep breath and walked in. After closing the door, he saw Yi Yuan sitting cross-legged on the ground. Before Su Yan could speak, Yi Yuan's body suddenly became terrifying. It was as if a demon god was awakening. His entire body was filled with a ferocious aura that could tear apart the heavens and the seas. At this moment, Yi Yuan seemed to be fully awakening. The blood and qi in his body were about to pierce through the heavens. Teacher, Su Yan exclaimed. Before he could say anything, his flesh shell automatically rumbled. This was because at the moment when Yi Yuan erupted, Su Yan's body was unsealed uncontrollably. Surging rays of light surged out. His awakened body had recovered to the extreme. You've always been curious as to why our bodies can sense each other. Yi Yuan smiled faintly. I always knew that it was difficult for you to open your life spring. I never told you. Now I can tell you. It's not that you don't have a life spring. It's because your life spring is too terrifying. It's so terrifying that even I can't predict what conditions are required to open it. Yi Yuan's words gave Su Yan a boost of confidence. He clenched his fists. Yes, he was in the awakening realm. He had the strength of 10,000 horses. Chapter 60. Teacher, what kind of physique do I have? Su Yan was also very confused. Yi Yuan pondered for a while and said, Physiques are also divided into 3, 6, and 9 grades. An ordinary physique in the awakening realm weighs about 50 kilograms. A superior physique weighs about 500 kilograms. There is also a treasure physique that weighs about 7 to 800 kilograms. For example, Jing Yanyu has a superior physique. Jiang Wuhan can barely be considered a treasure physique. A treasure physique is already not bad. In ancient times, he was considered an outstanding disciple. He has a lot of potential in the awakening realm. Among these 3 physiques, the treasure physique seems to be the strongest. In fact, it's not the case. The awakening realm is only the initial realm. It doesn't represent future potential. Some ordinary physiques can stand at the peak in the future. Physiques can also be inherited. For example, Jiang Wuhan has the bloodline of the golden crow in his body. If an ordinary physique reaches the peak, it can also develop the golden crow physique. It can even be stronger than the golden crow physique. That is the king physique. Yi Yuan smiled and said, Teacher is very lucky to have the king physique. It's the same as Zhu Yan's physique. Su Yan sucked in a cold breath. Teacher has the strength of 1,000 horses in the awakening realm. It's not the strength of 1,000 horses. It's tyrannical. Even Zhu Yan is more than that. However, no matter how strong it is, it can't exceed the strength of 1,000 horses by too much. Even so, can it compare to your physique? Yi Yuan said proudly. It's my fortune to be able to teach you for a period of time. I've seen it with my own eyes. A physique that doesn't even exist. If the laws of heaven and earth were born, your physique would be even stronger. You would have the strength of 1,000 horses even without the use of secret techniques. A physique that doesn't exist? Su Yan's pupils suddenly shrank. That's right. Even the secret books of ancient history don't have a physique like yours. Yi Yuan took a deep breath and sighed. The world of cultivation is too vast. There are too many things that people don't know. The strength of your physique has exceeded my expectations. I don't know what kind of physique you have, But your physique has a very terrifying innate advantage. It can suppress other physiques of the same level. This is also why the Beast King is afraid of you. Yuan said, your fate spring must be very special. Back then, it wasn't that I couldn't find my fate spring, it was that I could find it, but I couldn't open it. Later on, I realized that I had a king physique, and that a king physique's fate spring can be opened. Only some special things happened, so I won't tell you too much. Yuan smiled. That was his opportunity, and Long Mi was one of them. Teacher, what should I do next? Su Yin asked. The potential of your physical body is too terrifying. If you want to walk the same path as me, it will be even more difficult. After all, the greater the potential, the harder it is to break through the shackles. Yuan said seriously, you have a few options now. You can cultivate your soul to the primordial spirit. With the strength of your primordial spirit, you might be able to find the life spring. However, it will take too much time. I don't recommend you to take this path. If you want to break through the shackles of your physical body and enter the next realm, it will be even more difficult than cultivating the primordial spirit. At this stage, the resources on Earth will not be able to satisfy you. There's still one more option. Yuan smiled and said, it's the Tower of Trials. Go and challenge the Tower of Trials. You should be able to find the answer there. Is the Tower of Trials an ancient inheritance? Su Yin asked. The Tower of Trials is very mysterious. The inheritance inside is very scary. Yuan said, as long as you show enough talent, you should be able to obtain a great opportunity in the Tower of Trials. Back then, I passed the 10th level and reached the 11th level. However, it's a pity that because I didn't have enough comprehension, I was not able to obtain the inheritance of the Tower of Trials. It should be very difficult. Su Yin clenched his fist. For the past few decades, so many geniuses had tried to challenge the tower, but none of them could pass it. It's definitely difficult, but there's still hope. Yuan said, actually, there's another option, which is to awaken your bloodline. You might be able to obtain the cultivation techniques of your ancestors. However, it's too difficult to awaken your bloodline. You need to be lucky. Don't hesitate anymore. Take a rest and go to the Tower of Trials. You still have many opportunities. Compared to the desperate situation I faced back then, this is nothing. Yuan said sternly, go. I've given you everything that I can. You have to rely on yourself in the future. Master, I won't let you down. Yuan's words were very encouraging for Su Yin. His eyes flashed with a strong fighting spirit. He pushed open the door and walked in. He muttered to himself, what an unpredictable body constitution. I can't disgrace this body constitution. Returning to his residence, Su Yin opened the door to his living room. He could feel a faint but terrifying wave of energy. Is he going to break through? Su Yin's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. His gaze landed on the fatty who was sitting cross-legged at the edge of the treasure cave. When the life spring in his body was spurting out, rolling spiritual essence gathered at the life spring. The speed at which it was swallowing was very shocking. Su Yin realized that the fatty's life spring was getting stronger. He was about to step into the 6th level of the life spring realm. Su Yin originally wanted to carve out a spirit gathering array. However, he realized that his soul was very weak. He could only give up. He sat cross-legged and protected the fatty. After one night, the fatty's life spring had strengthened a lot. It was still strengthening. He was getting closer to the 6th level of the life spring. Someone's here. Su Yin's soul had recovered a lot. The moment he opened his eyes, his expression changed. He quickly closed the door to the living room and walked to the living room. Bang! The door was pushed open violently. Su Yin's expression was ugly. Seeing Lei Lao walk in majestically, he pushed open the door to the living room. Vice Principal, what can I do for you? Su Yin suppressed the anger in his heart. Su Yin, Lei Lao stared at him and asked with a smile, is your life spring still not open? When will you be able to open it? You don't have to worry about that. Su Yin clenched his fist. He could feel the pride in Lei Lao's eyes. He said in a deep voice, I will find a way to open the life spring. He, open the life spring? Lei Lao's eyes flashed with disdain. He said, how are you going to open it? Will the Yuan help you? Umph. Even Lu Changtian couldn't open it after guarding you for half a month. Do you think you can open the life spring? Lei Lao. Su Yan's eyes widened as he said angrily, as the vice principal of the academy, you don't care about the students. Instead, you have such a proud expression. I really don't know how you became the vice principal. You. Lei Lao was enraged. He pointed at Su Yan and clenched his fist. He angrily shouted, You! How dare you talk to me like that? Aren't you afraid that I will punish you on the spot? Lei Lao's aura became stronger and the sound of thunder could be heard. What's wrong? Did I, Su Yan, offend old Lei in any way? Is it because of the body accumulation elixir? Su Yan coldly said, Don't think that I, Su Yan, am a pushover. If I'm not wrong, you are here for the draconic energy, right? What a great Su Yan! Lei Lao coldly snorted. You are quite smart. You are right. How precious is the draconic energy? Our entire Huaxia University doesn't have much of it. And you, Su Yan, can't even open the life spring. How can you use the draconic energy? I don't need you to care about what I do. Su Yan clenched his fist and angrily said, I earned the draconic energy myself. It was given to me by the college. If you want it, you can ask the dean for it. If the college thinks that I, Su Yan, am not qualified to use the draconic energy, I, Su Yan, will not say another word. That's right. The draconic energy is yours. Lei Lao's eyes flashed coldly. But you can't even open the life spring. My disciple, Teng is much more outstanding than you. He is about to reach the 3rd level of the life spring realm. Stop showing off. Su Yan sneered. Lei Lao, you are the vice dean. You know how precious the draconic energy is. But don't you know that the draconic energy can only be maximized by opening the life spring? Hee, it seems like you know quite a lot. That may be the case, but the draconic energy is also very helpful to Teng. Lei Lao sternly said, Go find Lu Qingtian now and take back your draconic energy. If you give it to me, I will give you a promise. I will let you stay in Huaxia University for 10 years. In the future, I will help you get a teacher's title. You won't have to worry about food or clothing for the rest of your life. What a powerful Lei Lao. Su Yan laughed loudly. I can also tell you that if you have the ability, you can go find Vice Dean Lu Changtian to get the draconic energy. I will not go find Vice Dean Lu Qingtian. Bastard. Lei Lao's body was burning with anger. Terrifying lightning flashed faintly in his body. The aura that spread out made the entire room feel like it was going to explode. He went to find Lu Qingtian, but Lu Changtian didn't give it to him. He said that Su Yan could keep it for 2 years. 2 years was too long. He couldn't afford to wait. Teng Yingjie couldn't afford to wait either. Elder Lei was infuriated because of this. Could it be that Teng Yingjie was inferior to a piece of trash with no future? This made Lei Lao feel that it was very unfair. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come here to ask Su Yan shamelessly. At this moment, an extremely powerful source of energy faintly vibrated in the living room. Not good. Su Yan's face darkened. This damn fatty. He could have broken through a long time ago. Why did he have to break through at this moment? Lei Lao only lacked an excuse. However, Lei Lao would definitely use the treasure cave incident as an excuse. Su Yan quickly took out his communicator and sent a message to Yi Yuan. Only Yi Yuan could save him now. Bang! Lei Lao waved his sleeves, and the door to the living room opened. A huge amount of essence qi gushed out. The scene inside stunned him. There was actually a treasure cave. There was even a student who was about to step into the 6th level of the Life Spring realm. In the entire Huaxia University, there were very few students who had reached the 6th level of the Life Spring realm. Lei Lao walked in and stared at the treasure cave. His face was instantly filled with joy. He was just thinking about how to deal with Su Yan. This was a good excuse. Su Yan, do you know your crime? Lei Lao's anger was overwhelming. He stared coldly at Su Yan and shouted, Do you know your crime? I don't understand what Lei Lao is saying. Su Yan said in a deep voice, I chose the living room and the institute allowed me to choose it. I don't know what Lei Lao is trying to say. Su Yan, you are still so stubborn. You dare to use the Institute's resources and even help an outsider. How dare you? Lei Lao's eyes widened in anger. Lightning appeared around him, and he roared, "Men, take Su Yin down and send him to the Hall of Penal Law." Boom! Lei Lao gave the order. Two disciples rushed out from the Hall of Penal Law and rushed to the hidden Dragon Mountain like lightning. Shackle him and send him to the Hall of Penal Law. Put him in jail and wait for his punishment. Chapter 61. What's going on? Why are the disciples of the Hall of Penal Law here? The expressions of some of the older students changed. Two disciples of the Hall of Penal Law, wearing blood-red robes, had come to Hidden Dragon Mountain. Everyone knew that once someone was brought to the Hall of Penal Law, they would either die or be seriously injured, or even be expelled from the academy. Look, the surrounding students were in an uproar. They saw the two disciples of the Hall of Penal Law taking out shackles. They were going to lock Su Yin up and bring him to the Hall of Penal Law. It's Su Yin. What crime did he commit to be sent to the Hall of Penal Law? He's even being shackled. Heavens, this is a serious crime. Once he's sent to the Hall of Penal Law, there's no way he'll come back alive. Could it be because Su Yin is unable to open his life springs? How is that possible? How could the Academy treat Su Yin like this? Su Yin must have committed a serious crime. Could it be that he's trying to sell off the strongest cultivation method? The students discussed spiritedly. They didn't mind if things got out of hand, especially when they saw Lei Lao inside the room. Lei Lao was the vice principal of the Hall of Penal Law. Even Lei Lao was here. This meant that something big must have happened. Are you going to bring it yourself, or do we have to help you? The two young men wore blood-red robes and coldly stared at Su Yin. They knew that this person had a bad relationship with Tung Ingjia, so they didn't hold back. They threw the shackles on the ground and looked down at Su Yin from above. Su Yin's eyes were filled with anger. It was one thing for old Lei to make things difficult for him, but what was the meaning of sending him to the Hall of Penal Law? What crime did I commit? Su Yin angrily glared at Lei Lao and said, "The Grand Vice Principal is abusing his power for personal gain." The crowd was in an uproar. Su Yin dared to oppose the Vice Principal and even said such serious words. Did he not want to live anymore? Su Yin, your crime is unpardonable. Just slandering me is enough to send you to the Hall of Penal Law. Lei Lao's majestic robes fluttered in the wind. He righteously shouted, "I can let you go, but you dared to privately move the Academy's resources. You violated the Academy's rules. The Academy's resources are the entire Academy. How can you use it? You said I moved the Academy's resources." Su Yin coldly shouted, "I also want to ask, what kind of resources did I move? This residence is now mine. What does my cultivation inside hinder you in any way?" Boss Lei waved his sleeves, and the roof of the residence collapsed. Vast amounts of heaven and earth essence qi surged into the sky, causing the essence qi in this area to flourish. Some of the older students were on the verge of tears. How come they had no idea there was such a powerful place? No wonder Su Yin had been hiding in there all this time. What does that prove? Su Yin said, "I chose this place and I opened the treasure cave. The Academy doesn't say anything about handing over treasures. You're making a fool of yourself. I don't want to waste my breath talking to you. Arrest him and send him to the Hall of Penal Law." Lei Lao's face was ashen. Of course, if he wanted to arrest Su Yin, he needed an excuse, and now he had one. Vice-Chancellor. Two disciples from the Hall of Penal Law rushed forward, carrying shackles as they prepared to lock Su Yin up. "Screw off!" Su Yin roared, his heart burning with rage. He stretched out his hand toward the two disciples. "You dare to attack a disciple of the Hall of Penal Law? That's an insult to the Academy's laws. That's your punishment." Lei Lao's expression became even colder. He gave the order, looking down at Su Yin with his gloomy eyes. Su Yin, why don't you just give in? A piece of trash like you dares to attack us?" Both of them were at the peak of the life spring stage. Their auras burst out as they raised their feet and kicked at Yi Futian's knees, forcing him to kneel on the ground. Su Yan dares to defy the law. He's too bold. He'll get it. That's right. Su Yan is too bold. He even dares to slander the vice-chancellor. While everyone was discussing, wisps of terrifying, fierce aura were released. A bright divine light shot out from Su Yan's eyes. It was as if a battle spear that could pierce through the heavens had been awakened. After 3 months of bitter training and life and death experiences, just his aura alone was not something that an ordinary person could endure. The 2 disciples panicked. It was as if they had seen a peerless beast go crazy. "Screw off," Su Yan roared. His hair danced wildly in the wind as he unleashed a fist strike filled with unparalleled power that caused the sky to cave in as it shot toward the 2 disciples from the hall of beheadings and executions. Ah! The 2 disciples screamed as they were hit by Su Yan. They were sent flying, their hair disheveled, and they fell heavily to the ground. The onlookers felt their heads buzzing. Those 2 were at the peak of the first life spring stage, but they couldn't stop Su Yan. He was even stronger than he was 4 months ago. Jing Yongyu, who had arrived, was both surprised and delighted. He was surprised by Su Yan's strength, and delighted that the vice-chancellor was going to attack Su Yan. "How dare you?" A furious voice exploded from the crowd. An expert with surging chi crossed over and yelled, "How dare you use force against a disciple of the Hall of Punishment? This crime alone is enough to send you to the heavenly prison." Jing Yonghui. The expressions of the people around them were interesting. The 2 of them already had a grudge against each other. When Jing Yonghui recalled the matter of him lowering his head to Su Yan half a month ago, he was incomparably furious. He did not expect that Su Yan would not be able to open the life spring, causing him to lose a lot of face. Take him down. Lei Lao was ready to make a move. If it weren't for his reputation, he would have done it long ago. However, Lei Lao was surprised that Su Yan attacked a disciple of the Hall of Penal Law. The more Su Yan resisted, the more he would offend Lei Lao in the future. When the time came, Lei Lao would show mercy. Su Yan would have to hand over the chi of the Dragon Fountain. Boom! Jing Yonghui's aura was fully recovered. The moment the 6th level life spring was opened, it was like a flood breaking through a dam, like 10,000 horses galloping. A 6th level life spring has the strength of 10,000 horses. No, it's much stronger than 10,000 horses. With my strength, I can at most survive against a 6th level life spring expert. Su Yan could feel Jing Yonghui's strength. With his current strength, he could at most deal with a 5th level life spring expert. However, a 6th level life spring expert was too strong. Jing Yonghui had already rushed to his side, but was blocked by a roar. "How dare you bully my brother?" Su Yan's residence trembled. The cracked roof spewed out a source of energy that was like a stormy wave. It split open the sky and scattered the clouds in the sky. Under the shocked gazes from all around, the big fatty leaped up and arrived at the roof. The moment he saw Jing Yonghui, who had attacked Su Yan, his fierce-looking face trembled as he charged down. "Jing Yonghui, how dare you bully my brother?" The fatty roared. His entire body's origin of divine energy was awakened. The strength of a 6th level life spring expert was revealed. What? His strength has actually reached the 6th level life spring. This treasure cave is actually so strong. The onlookers were dumbfounded. The fatty had actually broken through to such a level. In this year, he had risen from the 4th level to the 6th. Thinking of the fatty's breakthrough speed, Jing Yonghui's eyes turned red. This was the benefit of the treasure cave. If the fatty didn't have the help of the treasure cave, how could he have reached such a level? Under normal circumstances, it would take 5 years to go from the life spring stage to the 6th level. However, the fatty had been in the academy for less than 3 years and was already standing at the 6th level. The treasure cave's effect was truly terrifying. "Bastard, how dare you attack me?" Lin Wanlon's flower protector was actually at the same level as himself. This made Jing Yonghui unable to bear, and his eyes turned red. This was the effect of the treasure cave. Su Yan's residence actually had a treasure cave. Wang. Jing Yanghui's palm formed a giant hand seal with lightning speed. It was suffused with an earth-shattering divine energy as it chopped towards the fatty. Boom! The fatty's palm formed a fist seal, and his entire fist spewed out flames that burned the heavens. This fist collided with the giant hand seal, and bursts of energy waves erupted, sweeping out in all directions. Jing Yanghui, I've long disliked you. Now you dare attack my brother? Who gave you the guts? The fatty shouted angrily. He was pleasantly surprised. He hadn't expected to be able to exchange blows with Jing Yanghui. He still hadn't figured out the situation. Just now, he had been breaking through and didn't know that the treasure cave had been leaked. This old man gave him the guts. Lei Lao's expression was ugly. Capturing Su Yin should have taken a lot of effort. Now, even if Fatty dared to provoke him. Lei Lao, you're shameless. Fatty dodge. Su Yin's eyes widened in anger. When he saw old Lei's palm pressing down, it was like a thunderbolt from the blue sky. Streaks of dazzling lightning fell from his palm one after another, riddling the vacuum with holes. Lei Lao. The fatty's expression changed drastically. This palm was too domineering. If it came down, he would definitely be seriously injured. You dare to obstruct this old man's actions? You'll be detained in the Hall of Penal Law. Good. Su Yin, you'll be detained in the Hall of Penal Law. Lei Lao's domineering aura leaked out. This palm was extremely terrifying. It covered the sky and earth as it descended, and bolt after bolt of lightning struck the fatty. His other hand was just as domineering. It stretched down from the sky, forming a giant palm shadow that grabbed at Su Yin. Su Yin and the fatty couldn't move. After all, Lei Lao was the vice dean. There weren't many people in the academy who could stop him. Who dares to detain my student in the Hall of Penal Law? Suddenly, wave after wave of deep and resounding voices exploded on the peak of Hidden Dragon Mountain. It was as if thousands of fierce horses were galloping. The entire Hidden Dragon Mountain was faintly shaking. Roar! Wave after wave of resounding dragon roars resounded between heaven and earth. That was the sound of a domineering figure crossing over. His hair was disheveled, and his entire body was surging with murderous intent. His arrival caused the entire Hidden Dragon Mountain to tremble. Boundless murderous intent swept across the entire Hidden Dragon Mountain. Yuan's cool photo has been released. Check the history of my public account. It was released yesterday. Chapter 62. The entire Hidden Dragon Mountain was filled with endless explosions. This was the sound of a dragon and a tiger roaring. All the disciples and teachers felt their eardrums ringing and their heads splitting. The sound waves were so strong that their eardrums were about to burst. When they saw the source, a domineering figure walking towards the peak of the Hidden Dragon Mountain, they were all petrified. At this moment, Yuan was majestic. His messy hair danced in the wind. His bronze skin was filled with the sound of a dragon and a tiger roaring. Sometimes he was like a giant tiger. Sometimes he was like a giant dragon. His aura was so powerful that the entire Hidden Dragon Mountain was trembling. What a terrifying aura. The entire Huaxia University was filled with the sound of a dragon and a tiger roaring. He's getting serious. Lu Qingtian looked at this scene and smiled. This old man. I didn't expect Su Yin to really force him to make a move. What a surprise. Yuan, my old friend, has finally awakened. Huaxia University, in the most mysterious Dao Palace. Xiaozhe opened his eyes and smiled. He looked at Su Yin and frowned. I wonder what relationship Su Yin has with the female Shura. However, it seems that Su Yin is very powerful to be able to force the martial god to make a move. I hope he's the next martial god. Yuan. Thousands of disciples in the entire Hidden Dragon Mountain were petrified. Many teachers were dumbfounded. Yuan was not only powerful, he was terrifying. His aura was like a giant dragon awakening, and it affected the entire Hidden Dragon Mountain. How is this possible? Countless students were muttering to themselves. Wasn't Yuan a trash teacher? How could he be so powerful? They all felt that their teachers were not qualified to be compared to Yuan. Old Liang was dumbfounded. No wonder Su Yin had been following Yuan. It turned out that Yuan was so powerful and was a hidden expert of the school. Teacher, the stone in Su Yan's heart finally loosened. He looked at Yuan gratefully. If it wasn't for him being in danger, Yuan wouldn't have awakened and helped him. Yuan took one step after another as he walked toward Su Yan. His might was terrifying, and he was like a demon god. His bronze skin was coiled with a monstrous, ferocious might. Yuan. Vicedine Lei Lao's face slowly turned cold. You really know how to hide. You actually hit it so deeply. Yuan, I really underestimated you. But so what if you're strong? In front of this old man, even 10 dragons will have to kneel down. Lei Lao was not afraid of Yuan. He said coldly, your student's crimes are unforgivable. She used the academy's resources in private and attacked a disciple of the law enforcement hall. She even dared to slander me. She cannot be forgiven. Roar. Yuan's response was simple and domineering. He struck out with his palm. An illusory and terrifying dragon shape pierced through the ground. In an instant, it shattered Lei Lao's palm, along with his lightning palm that was aimed at the fatty. Domineering. These two words were not an exaggeration to describe Yuan. He was even more domineering than Tang Yi. Whether it was Tang Yi or Yuan, they were both hot-blooded men who had fought their way out of endless difficulties decades ago. They didn't respect the heavens and earth, nor did they respect the gods and demons. They both had a willpower that didn't care about anything. Yuan, you're rebelling. Lei Lao was furious. Lightning revolved around his body. One after another, the lightning bolts quickly thickened. Lei Lao's anger caused lightning to flash and thunder to roll. The sky darkened, as if a storm was brewing. All the students who saw this scene were excited. This was the first time they had seen a battle between experts. All of them stared with wide eyes, anticipating the battle. They also wanted to see the glory of the experts. Is my student someone you can judge? Yuan's eyes flashed with a cold light. How dare you? Lei Lao was both shocked and furious. He pointed at Yuan and shouted, you're also a teacher, yet you dare to ignore the rules of the school. I think you're really rebelling. Boom. Lei Lao's aura became terrifying once again. The entire hidden dragon mountain was filled with the sound of lightning and thunder. Between the heavens and earth, a storm rolled up. Following Lei Lao's terrifying aura, it began to fall like lightning. I'll capture you and interrogate you properly. I'll ask you if you participated. Lei Lao madly rushed over, his entire body radiating lightning. His aura was extremely shocking. He was at the 9th level of the Life Spring realm and was about to step into the weapon building realm. Lei Lao, who cultivated at the 9th level, had the life spring in his body surging endlessly. The surrounding people were agitated. Lei Lao was too strong. In particular, Tang Yingjie said excitedly, look, this is my teacher. What bullshit are you on? He's not even qualified to carry my teacher's shoes. He dares to exchange blows with my teacher? Doesn't he know that my teacher's attacks are fierce and domineering? Interrogate me. Yuan's eyes narrowed. Some people could faintly feel that strands of ferocious aura that could tear apart the heavens and split the seas were being emitted. It made many teachers tremble. They were a little afraid. At this moment, they felt that Yuan was faintly familiar. As he watched Elder Lei charge towards him, Yuan's fists instantly rose into the air. At this moment, it was as if a dragon and tiger had broken out of their cage. It was as if an ancient star had appeared in the sky. The moment this fist rose, the entire hidden dragon mountain trembled. Everyone was dumbfounded. Under Yuan's fist, it seemed that Lei Lao was somewhat weak. Boom! Yuan's fist smashed over, accompanied by the roar of a dragon and the roar of a tiger. His entire fist could be said to be an ancient star. It exploded with an unimaginable strength that penetrated the entire peak of Hidden Dragon Mountain. Kacha! Under everyone's horrified gazes, the lightning that filled the sky exploded into pieces. Lei Lao's entire body trembled violently. A bowl-sized bloody hole appeared in his chest. Wah! Lei Lao coughed out a mouthful of blood and flew out violently. He fell to the ground, his entire body sobbing. Teacher, Tung Yingjie was both shocked and frightened. All the disciples were dumbfounded. Lei Lao had been sent flying by a single fist. How? How is this possible? Lei Lao's palms were on the ground. Blood was dripping from the corner of his mouth. There was a trace of fear in his eyes. He wanted to get up, but it was difficult for him to do so. You. Lei Lao was panting heavily. He pointed at Yi Yuan and exclaimed, You are the Einherjar. Wow. The entire hidden dragon mountain was in an uproar. Old Liang took a deep breath and almost fell to the ground. In the Huaxia Alliance, among the top 10 elites, the female Shura was the most mysterious. The Einherjar was the most domineering in close combat. The Einherjar became famous in the era before Zhu Yan. The reason why he was called the Einherjar was because he had once killed a demon king in close combat. That was one of the leaders of the Beast Army. No one knew how many elites of the Huaxia Alliance were killed by him. Rumor had it that the Einherjar had also died in that battle. Since then, he had disappeared. Many people called Yi Yuan the Einherjar. However, the Einherjar now turned out to be a nameless teacher in Huaxia University. Su Yin was in a daze. His teacher was the Einherjar. Countless fanatical gazes were fixed on the Einherjar from all directions. However, Tao Tianhua and the others' expressions were ugly. Among the older generation, Xia Zhe was here, and so was the Einherjar. The two older elites had extremely terrifying charisma. Once the news that the Einherjar was still alive spread, it would cause an uproar. The Einherjar's prestige was too high. Back then, he had fought the Demon King in close combat. He had risked his life and saved countless elites of the Huaxiao Alliance. Xia Zhe sighed. The Einherjar was very strong. He and the Einherjar were sworn brothers. However, the Einherjar's appearance had changed too much. Yi Yuan had come to the college 30 years ago. At that time, Xia Zhe had wanted to take him in as a disciple. However, he had been rejected. Only then did Xia Zhe recognize him. The Einherjar's life spring had been damaged in the battle with the Demon King. However, he had taken a shortcut and embarked on the path of physical cultivation. He felt that the current Einherjar was much stronger than the Einherjar of the past. No matter who I am, you're just a vice dean. How dare you bully my students again and again? Yi Yuan's eyes were cold. He stared at Lei Lao and shouted, If this was in the past, I would have split you in half. The surrounding people were suffocating. A Einherjar who had emerged from blood and fire was unyielding. No matter how high Lei Lao's status was, Yi Yuan would not let him off so easily. That punch had already severely injured Lei Lao. Lei Lao's expression kept changing. In the end, he shouted angrily, Einherjar, I respect you as Einherjar. However, your student secretly hid a treasure cave. This is a serious crime. Lei Lao, the college does not have such a rule. Furthermore, the residence was chosen by Su Yin. Lu Peng stood up excitedly. His face was filled with fanaticism. He had idolized the Einherjar since he was young. He could not forget the battle between the Einherjar and the Demon King 50 years ago when he was still a child. He had personally witnessed the Einherjar fight to the death with the Demon King. The scene was still unforgettable. Even so, is it wrong for me to ask? However, Su Yin resisted the law. Lei Lao roared hysterically. He was also afraid of the Einherjar. It was also because of his background as an Einherjar that his pride was shattered. It was difficult for him to swallow this anger. I resisted the law. Lei Lao, why don't you take a look and see what methods you have to deal with me? You even want to put shackles on me. Su Yin said angrily. Don't you just want the draconic energy? If you have the ability, go get it yourself. Why are you making things difficult for me? The surroundings were in chaos. Draconic energy? Many people did not know what this was. However, Tao Tianhua knew, and Tung Yingjie knew even more. That's right. I want to fight for the draconic energy for Tung. Lei Lao stood up with difficulty and said angrily, Einherjar, you dare say that your student is more outstanding than Tung? Why does your student have the draconic energy, but Tung does not? The college is unfair. The dean is unfair. It must be because you are the Einherjar that it was given to Su Yin. That's right. Why does Su Yin have it? Tung Yingjie was also angry. Lei Lao, what are you trying to do? Lu Peng was angry. He was slandering the Einer jar. Nothing, Lei Lao said coldly. Su Yin is inferior to Tang Er. The draconic energy should belong to Tang Er. It's better to let them fight. Whoever loses will give up the draconic energy. Chapter 63. Lei Lao Yu. Lu Peng was furious. Su Yin had not even opened his life spring. What could he use to fight with Tang Yingjie? Some people around also frowned. It was indeed unfair to let Su Yin and Tang Yingjie fight. They did not know the use of the qi of Dragon Vein. If they did, they would not have thought this way. The importance of the qi of Dragon Vein was no less than that of a top martial art. Lei Lao knew that he had already offended the Einer jar, but he was not afraid of offending him further. After all, he was in Huaxia University. No one could kill Lei Lao. Su Yin, don't you dare? Do you still want to hide behind your teacher? Tung Yingjie was also eager to fight. He had long wanted to fight with Su Yin and given the title of number 1 among the new students. Tung Yingjie, you have always wanted to fight with me. Sure. Su Yin strode forward. His hair and clothes fluttered in the wind. He shouted coldly, "Today, I will fulfill your wish." Okay, you said it. Don't go back on your words. Tung Yingjie was ecstatic. He was afraid that Su Yin would find an excuse to refuse. After all, he was now the Einer jar's disciple. Who would dare to make things difficult for him? Su Yin's expression was cold. This fight was not for him, but for the Einer jar and Yi Yuan. Su Yin, if you lose, take out the qi of Dragon Vein and give it to Tung Yingjie. Only the most talented disciples have the right to have this kind of resource. Lei Lao was also pleasantly surprised. He did not expect Su Yin to agree. He had just heard that Tang Yingjie had reached the 3rd level of the life spring stage. Tang Yingjie was at the 3rd level of the life spring stage. Even those at the 5th level of the life spring stage would find it difficult to defeat him. What could Su Yin use to fight with Tang Yingjie? Even if he was the martial god student, it was still impossible. Su Yin, you better think carefully. Lu Peng's expression changed. If Su Yin lost, then the martial god would lose a lot of face. After all, the martial god had just taught Lei Lao a lesson. But if Tung Yingjie won, then wouldn't the world say that the martial god student was inferior to Lei Lao's student? Seeing Su Yin nod and the martial god remain silent, Lu Peng frowned. Could it be that Su Yin could really defeat Tung Yingjie? Lu Peng then said, Lei Lao, isn't that unfair? Lu Peng, what are you doing? Lei Lao's face was ashen as he said gloomily, what does this have to do with you? Could it be that the martial god student is inferior to my student? That's not what I mean. Lu Peng shook his head and said with a cold smile, Su Yin took out the Dragon Vein energy, but you don't seem to have taken out anything, right? You're still trying to play tricks at a time like this? You. Lei Lao was furious. The Dragon Vein energy wasn't in Su Yan's hands. It still belonged to the Academy. All right, since it's a bet, then let's be fair. Don't let someone secretly trip us up when the time comes. Lei Lao didn't want to miss a good opportunity. He fiercely flung his sleeve, and a glittering silver bag appeared in front of him. He said, Lu Peng, look carefully. I don't need to explain what this is. If Tung Yingjie loses, then this treasure belongs to Su Yin. Won't regret it? Lu Peng was shocked. He walked over and checked the silver bag. He found that there were many good things inside. This old man will do as he says. I won't regret it. Lei Lao fiercely stared at Su Yin. He had high hopes for his student. Tung Yingjie definitely wouldn't lose. Could this be a storage bag? Su Yin and Yi Yuan had been bitterly cultivating for 3 months. They had a good understanding of the world's treasures. He knew of a treasure bag that could store things. Although the storage bag was of the lowest grade, it was something that couldn't be bought with money. Crazy, he even took out a storage bag. It seems like Lei Lao loves his student too much. He's determined to obtain the Dragon Vein energy. He's not even afraid of offending the martial god. Is he so sure that his student will be invincible? Some of the teachers in the field also recognized the storage bag. They were extremely envious. They knew that Lei Lao had a storage bag, but they didn't expect him to take it out for a bet. It seemed like he had absolute confidence in defeating Tung Yingjie. Yi Yuan didn't say anything. How could he deal with a Tung Yingjie? Yuan couldn't find any reason to be worried. Su Yan, don't cry when you lose. Don't ask the martial god to speak for you. Tung Yingjie walked out with a murderous aura. He grinned and said, if it weren't for the martial god, how could you have the dragon vein energy? Su Yan, don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're lucky enough to become a disciple of the martial god. This is Huaxia University, a place with laws. You know that this is a place with laws? Su Yan mocked. Thinking about how Lei Lao stole my body accumulation pill, I feel a little disgusted now. Shut up. Resources are for the strong, not for trash like you. You don't understand at all. What qualifications do you have to become a disciple of the martial god? Today, I'll show the world how trash the martial god's disciple is. Tung Yingjie closed in on Su Yan. With every step he took, his aura surged. After taking more than 10 steps, Tung Yingjie's aura increased by a lot. Under the shocked gazes of the audience, the moment Tung Yingjie's life spring was opened, a vast white waterfall rushed into the sky. Wrapped in dazzling lightning, it broke open the vacuum. Waves of surging divine power soared into the sky, suffocating many of the people around him. Level 3 of the Life Spring Realm. Tung Yingjie actually broke through to level 3. Oh my god, he stepped into level 3. With the tyrannical attack of the Thunder Body, he can probably challenge level 4. Maybe even level 5 won't be a problem for Tung Yingjie. Su Yan will lose for sure. He hasn't even opened his life spring. How can he defeat Tung Yingjie? The entire Qianlong Mountain was in an uproar. Lei Lao laughed proudly. His disciple didn't disappoint him and had helped him vent his anger. Su Yan, how is it? Tung Yingjie's aura grew stronger and stronger. The sky turned gloomy with dark clouds, lightning flashing, and thunder rumbling. At this moment, Tung Yingjie faintly had the divine power to summon the wind and rain. Especially the dark clouds that filled the sky, they rushed towards Su Yan. This was a phenomenon brought about by the heavenly thunder scripture. There was a mighty heavenly might. The dark clouds that filled the sky with lightning began to devour Su Yan. Many people couldn't bear to watch, mainly because they couldn't bear to see the martial god being humiliated. Some people discovered that the moment when the turbulent dark clouds and lightning storm were pressuring Su Yan, they slowly froze. In the darkness, a blurry yet dazzling figure suddenly rose, burning the darkness. As the spine rose and fell, layers upon layers of dormant sources of qi and blood suddenly rose from the ground and soared into the sky. Crack! Under everyone's incredulous gaze, the dark clouds that filled the sky were completely shattered. A dragon-shaped shadow emerged from Su Yan's spine and broke out of his body. It roamed the heavens and the earth and shattered the phenomenon that filled the sky. Su Yan's body emitted the roars of dragons and tigers. His aura skyrocketed. His essence, qi, and spirit were completely different. His eyes were filled with heaven-shattering divine light. What a terrifying blood essence! Su Yan has obtained the true inheritance of the martial god. This is going to be interesting. Su Yan is too powerful. He has also embarked on the path of the martial god, who specializes in physical cultivation. The crowd was in an uproar. This was a huge surprise. Lu Peng couldn't believe it. How terrifying was Su Yan's strength? Could it be that his potential in the awakening realm was only the strength of 700 horses? Su Yan, I really underestimated you. Tung Yingjie's expression changed, and he suddenly rushed over. His entire palm rose up, and dense electric arcs intertwined to form a big handprint. It was as if it was formed by interweaving lightning, and it was filled with an explosive aura. Heaven's Thunder Palm, Tung Yingjie shouted. This palm attack was fierce and domineering, fiercely pressing towards Su Yan's body. You can't do it. Su Yan's aura became even more turbulent. His robe fluttered in the wind. His body was like a huge, erupting volcano, dazzling and blazing. The moment his palm rose, it was like the claw of a dragon and tiger, splitting the sky with his bare hands, exuding a martial aura that could tear the sky and split the sea. Rip! Su Yan's claw tore apart the lightning that filled the sky. Tung Yingjia's giant handprint was smashed into pieces by Su Yan's palm. Kill! Su Yan roared towards the sky, roaring out the anger in his heart. His entire body was filled with the aura of a true dragon. Faintly, there were 10,000 horses galloping, and a true dragon roaring with its head raised. That terrifying aura covered the sky and earth, angrily sweeping through the sky and earth, as if it was going to pierce through the sky. Tung Yingjia's eyes flashed with fear. He seemed to see beast kings roaring at him, one after another. The 5 moves of the Xing-Yi martial arts, the power of the 5 great beast kings, gushed out from Su Yan's body. There was also the power of 10,000 horses galloping, trampling on the void. Roar! Su Yan's back was like a divine dragon emerging from a sea. The dragon's shape pulled out more than half of the qi and blood in his body, gathering the shadow of a true dragon and enveloping Su Yan. At this moment, he was like a true dragon descending into the world, looking down on everything. Oh no! Tung Yingjia's expression changed drastically. He tried his best to recover. He used his strongest life spring power to create lightning traces, trying to seal Su Yan's power. However, the shadow that was rushing towards him became more and more terrifying, more and more violent. Boom! Su Yan rushed over. Every move he made was accompanied by the roars of dragons and tigers. The moment his fist violently smashed forward, countless traces of lightning collapsed uniformly. This punch was wild and domineering. It was no different from the martial god's attack on Lei Lao. It ruthlessly hammered Tung Yingjia's chest. Crack! Tung Yingjia's entire chest caved in. His bones cracked, and large amounts of blood seeped out from his back. He coughed out a large mouthful of blood and flew backwards. His fearful eyes were still looking at Su Yan's cold expression. His expression was similar to when he was defeated by Yi Yuan. There was fear and disbelief in his heart. He had the Thunder Constitution at the 3rd level of the Life Spring realm. He had joined the academy at the same time as Su Yan. However, he had been brutally defeated here, and Su Yan had only used one move. Chapter 64. At the peak of Hidden Dragon Mountain, blood essence surged in all directions. The lingering sound of a dragon's roar could still be heard. The spectating students, teachers, and stewards were all present. Looking at the elegant youth in front of them, they all wanted to say something, but when they opened their mouths, they didn't know what to say. Lei Lao's face was ashen. His body was trembling, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. His wrinkled face seemed to have aged many years. He had lost, and so had his student. What was laughable was that he was the one who initiated the challenge, and he had been utterly defeated. From the beginning, Lei Lao had boasted that his tendrils were unparalleled, and that he was the leader of this batch of freshmen. But now, after such a bloody blow, Lei Lao almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He had been defeated too miserably. Lu Peng also sighed. Why bother? Lei Lao had spoiled his student too much. He had even demanded more resources from the college, and had even tried to snatch Su Yan's resources. Now, he had almost lost everything. Martial God, Su Yan. The martial god has a successor. The older generation was extremely excited. The battle between Su Yan and Tung Yingjia had been clean, and he had ruthlessly defeated Tung Yingjia in a domineering manner. Su Yan's reputation, which had fallen to rock bottom, had once again climbed to the peak. Just his combat strength alone was enough to make him a formidable expert in the college. Moreover, he was a martial god student. Tung Yingjia lay on the ground, his eyes still filled with fear. He still couldn't believe that he had been defeated by Su Yan in one move. Tao Tianhua's breathing was heavy. Su Yan had given him one surprise after another. Now his heart was trembling. This was the martial god. Even if Su Yan hadn't opened his life spring, the martial god would have been able to nurture Su Yan with his means. No matter what, this person can't be left alive. He can't be left alive. Tao Tianhua's eyes were filled with killing intent. He left this place and went to Divine Dragon Mountain, preparing to discuss with Jiang Wuan. When Su Yin took the bag of holding from Lu Peng, Lei Lao wanted to say something, but he didn't. That was because there were still many treasures in the bag of holding. Now that they were all in Su Yan's hands, he didn't have the face to say anything. You asked for it. Su Yin shook his head when he saw Lei Lao's miserable state. If the martial god hadn't appeared, they definitely wouldn't have been able to escape unscathed. Teacher. Su Yin looked at Yi Yuan respectfully. After knowing his identity, Su Yan's emotions surged. There was only one martial god in the entire Huaxia Alliance, and he was Yi Yuan. Go ahead and finish your own business. Yi Yuan nodded and left alone. He was a martial arts fanatic, and he studied his own martial arts path. That day, if Xiaze hadn't asked him to take in a disciple, he wouldn't have discovered Su Yan's uniqueness. Perhaps this was fate. What kind of monster did Tang Yi send me? Is there any way to cultivate Yi Yuan? Could he be the same as Yi Yuan and Zhu Yin? Do they all have the king body? Xiaze thought to himself. The king body constitution. This was the future of the Huaxia Alliance, and it was related to the rise and fall of the race. Su Yin, I hope you won't disappoint me. He stared at the image of Su Yin stepping into the Tower of Trials and mumbled to himself. What kind of inheritance is hidden in this Tower of Trials? It's been dozens of years, and no one has been able to pass it. Back then, even Zhu Yin couldn't pass it, and his speed was even faster than Su Yan's. Originally, Su Yin wanted to get some ores, but to his surprise, Lei Lao had a lot of ores in his storage pouch, saving him the trouble of buying more. Huaxia University was in an uproar. News of the martial god had spread throughout the school, and countless strong people had already gone to the martial god's residence, wanting to meet him. News of the martial god's appearance had also spread throughout the entire Huaxia Alliance. The top 10 strong people. Which one of them wasn't a famous strong person? Which one of them wasn't a strong person who had contributed greatly to the Huaxia Alliance? The martial god is still alive. The martial god is still alive. Ha! I actually got to see the martial god's peerless glory with my own eyes. Did you know? Back then, I was still a child, but the martial god could already fight with the demon king. 50 years ago, I could only watch as the martial god and the demon king perished together. But now the old man is still alive. The entire world was shocked. The older generation still remembered what had happened 50 years ago. The Huaxia Alliance back then was too difficult, and there was always the threat of extinction. But every time the Huaxia Alliance faced a life or death crisis, there would always be a hero who would appear and shed their blood. And the martial god risked his life to kill the demon king. That was the first time a demon king had died. This was a terrifying deterrent to the entire beast army, and it could be seen how powerful the martial god was back then. You old bastards. Now you're begging me to go find Su Yin? I still want face. In the headquarters of Base 9, Xia Yang returned to his room and burst into laughter. Some of the old fellows of the Underground Commerce Alliance were so regretful that their intestines turned green. Su Yin was now the martial god student, and Su Yin had defeated the third stage of Life Spring Tung Yingjie in one move. Some people estimated that Su Yin could fight against the fifth stage of Life Spring. Why can't you keep your cool? Jiang Wuhan looked unhappily at Tao Tianhua, who had barged in. He coldly said, whether it's the martial god or Su Yin, they can't even open their life springs. What's there to talk about? The earth is about to undergo a second metamorphosis. In the future, the world will be the world of martial cultivators. No matter how strong the martial god is, my teacher can crush him with a pinky finger. Hearing Jiang Wuhan's words, Tao Tianhua's emotions surged. When that day came, would the world be reversed? Listen carefully. My teacher said that the arrival of the Tao will not exceed 3 years. Jiang Wuhan expectantly said, once my teacher comprehends the power of the Tao, he will be able to control the laws of heaven and earth. At that time, he will definitely be able to kill gods and Buddhas that block his way. Tao Tianhua's confidence was once again filled. However, when he received the message from his communicator, his expression turned ugly. He reached the 10th level. Jiang Wuhan's expression also turned ugly. This Su Yin is a little mysterious. I heard from my teacher that the Tower of Trials might contain the inheritance of an ancient almighty. You better keep an eye on him. In the entire Huaxia University, many students looked as if they had seen a ghost. Su Yin had reached the 10th level. Su Yin is a freak. Luckily, his life springs can't be opened. Otherwise, how would we be able to survive? He has already reached the 10th level. Can he reach the 11th level? How is that possible? Even eldest senior brother couldn't pass the 11th level. Su Yan's teacher, the martial god, is terrifying. However, can a martial god be more terrifying than the martial god, Zhu Yin? If they were to make a comparison, there was no comparison. Everyone knew that Dao Zhu Yin was the strongest. The martial god had risked his life against the Demon King. However, Zhu Yin had killed at least 3 Demon Kings back then. Otherwise, how could Zhu Yan's reputation be so terrifying? He was known as the invincible martial god. If he can't pass the 10th level, he can only wait for the birth of the Tao Law and find stronger treasures in the ancient ruins. Yuan's side. It's too difficult. It takes a long time too. As for Su Yan's residence, it was as if it had been forgotten. The fatty had been cultivating here all day, causing a group of disciples to go crazy with jealousy. They hated that they couldn't become Su Yan's friends. However, this residence seemed to have become a taboo. No one dared to mention it. Su Yan had already reached the 10th level. This is the second scroll of the Art of Formations. Su Yan was pleasantly surprised. He held the ancient beast skin map and inspected the second scroll of the Art of Formations. The second scroll contained completed arrays, including the Spirit Gathering Array. However, on this beast skin map, there were more than 100 arrays. There were Spirit Gathering Array, Gale Array, Thunder Array. There were all kinds of arrays. According to the second scroll of the Art of Formations, it could be seen that these arrays were the most basic ones. The Spirit Gathering Array was the simplest array. My task is to copy all of these arrays, right? Su Yin was full of confidence. Although the Spirit Gathering Array that he had mastered was the simplest one, the rest of the arrays were derived from shallow array marks. No matter how many changes there were, they would still remain the same. Wrong. The silver-robed woman walked over gracefully. Her beauty was peerless. She walked over and said, "Didn't you bring the oars? Copy 10 of the arrays in the second scroll of the Art of Formations on the oars. Remember, they must be of different attributes." "What? Copy them on the oars?" Su Yin said in astonishment. This oar is so small. How can I copy so many array marks?" "That's your own problem." The silver-robed woman ignored Su Yan's complaints and said softly, "Remember, you don't have much time. Hurry up." Su Yan's face darkened. He probed his storage bag with his divine sense. There were more than 100 oars inside, but they were all the size of a fist. If he really wanted to copy the complex array marks, it would require an extremely strong divine sense. It would definitely be difficult to copy. Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. He found some good things in Lei Lao's storage bag. He used the power of his divine sense to take out the items inside. In some bottles and jars, he found 3 bottles of soul cultivation liquid. This old man actually has so many good things. Su Yan's eyes lit up. The soul cultivation liquid was very important to his divine sense cultivation. If he swallowed all 3 bottles, it would strengthen his divine sense by a lot. This way, it would be much easier to copy. I wonder how much time I'll spend on the 10th level. Su Yin closed his eyes and absorbed the power of the soul cultivation liquid to nourish his divine sense. A golden divine mark flashed on his forehead. After being nourished by the soul cultivation liquid, it rapidly strengthened. In 3 consecutive days, Su Yin refined 3 bottles of soul cultivation liquid. His divine senses undulations strengthened by a lot. As expected of the soul cultivation liquid, this is a grade 3 medicinal liquid. I estimate that if my divine sense is strengthened by 10 times, I can manifest my primordial spirit. Su Yin opened his eyes and began to study the second scroll of the Art of Formations. Time passed slowly. In a blink of an eye, half a month passed. In the 10th level of the Tower of Trials, There were more complicated arrays one after another. Su Yin carved 3 sets of arrays on the ground. The silver-robed woman was secretly surprised. Although Su Yin had not carved the arrays on the oars, his comprehension speed was extremely fast. How long had it been since he came into contact with the art of formations? Another half a month passed. Su Yin carved 8 sets of arrays. The remaining 2 were completed in 3 days. Su Yin had already chosen 10 sets of arrays. They all had different attributes. He first tried the spirit-gathering array. He used his finger power to carve the array marks. The process was too painful. He could not be bold and resolute at all. He had to be careful all the time. Can I go out and take some bigger oars and try again? Su Yin asked the silver-robed woman who had been silent all this time. She shook her head. It's all the same. You're not carving very well now. Bigger oars will affect the effect of the array. It's really rare for you to say something like this. Su Yin muttered. Hearing this, a faint smile appeared in the silver-robed woman's eyes. She said faintly, I forgot to tell you something. The attributes of the oars are different. Only when they are combined with the appropriate array can they explode with greater power. Su Yin was shocked. He looked at the oars and said, I understand now. Just like weapons, the array consumes the energy of the oars and erupts with strong destructive power. The silver-robed woman nodded slightly. Oars could be used to refine weapons. But if the energy of the oars burst out at once to form a killing array, one could imagine how strong it would be. Chapter 65. Clang, 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 clang. Su Yan's fingers were like an indestructible brush, constantly carving array patterns on the oar. Every stroke was like an iron hook, a powerful aura exuding from between the lines. The carving of every formation mark was very taxing on Su Yin. This was a hard oar, and every time he carved, Su Yin had to calculate the overall structure of the array pattern. Hour after hour passed. Su Yan's forehead was dripping with sweat. When a day had passed, Su Yin seemed to have crawled out of the water. He was sweating profusely, his face was pale, and his fingers were not listening to him. However, the oar in his hand was black. It was densely packed with thousands of tiny silk-like patterns. It was hard to believe that Su Yin had carved it with his fingers. A mere awakening realm cultivator can actually persist for so long. The silver-robed woman's eyes flashed with surprise. She could not see through Su Yan's strength. She thought that he had a secret treasure protecting him. Hold on, hold on. Su Yin gritted his teeth and persevered. Just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Time passed very slowly. When night fell, Su Yin used up the last of his strength to carve the last array pattern on the stone. At this moment, the entire oar exploded. The crisscrossing formation patterns on the stone transformed into a complex formation at lightning speed. When it was awakened, it extracted the divine power contained within the oar, causing a powerful airflow to erupt in an instant. Ah! Su Yin screamed like a pig being slaughtered. He was sent flying and coughed out a mouthful of blood. His hair was disheveled, and he almost fainted from the shock. And this oar had exploded into pieces. There were still remnants of the turbulent wind between heaven and earth. F***CKU. Su Yin grimaced. His whole body was in extreme pain. He could not help but curse. He had failed. He had used so much effort to carve the first or array disc. He had failed. You did not fail. However, the silver-robed woman's faint voice sounded. Who told you to revive the array disc? You succeeded just now, but when you revived the array disc, the divine power in the oar was also exhausted. So, it is considered a failure. F***CK. Su Yin almost cursed it out loud. This kind of strong contrast caused black lines to appear on Su Yan's forehead. He crawled up with difficulty, and his eyes were quickly filled with surprise. Yes, he had failed, but the power of the array disc just now made him couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. This was a consummate skill. If he threw 10 of them, even an expert at the 6th level of the Lifespring realm would be at a great loss, or even killed. Su Yin rubbed his hands excitedly and sat cross-legged on the ground. He came to the spirit-gathering array that he had inscribed and absorbed the heaven and earth essence to recover the damage in his body. The essence blood in his body began to recover. His entire flesh shell spewed out divinity. After one night, Su Yan's entire body was overflowing with a blazing aura. It was as if a heaven and earth furnace was being born here. The silver-robed woman was even more surprised. How strong was the potential of Su Yan's body? She still couldn't see through it. She guessed that Su Yan had a peerless treasure protecting him, but what treasure was it? What kind of body-tempering technique is this? She was alarmed. She could tell that Su Yan had yet to open his life spring. Could he be a body-tempering cultivator? The silver-robed woman frowned. She didn't know much about body tempering. She shook her head and said, "It should be body tempering. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such strength at the primordial realm." Su Yan recovered and continued to inscribe the arrayed disc for the second time. He realized that he was more relaxed than the first time. He also understood that this was what it meant to be meticulous. This was also a form of high-intensity training. His control of the divine power in his body had already reached a boiling point. Time passed day after day. Every day, Su Yan was extremely tired, but his harvest was astonishing. He was immersed in this kind of pleasure, and one after another, the completed array discs were successfully completed. Su Yan has been on the 10th level for a long time. What kind of inheritance did he get? What a freak. Could it be that Su Yan will still step into the 11th level? Are you kidding me? Even Elder Brother and the others didn't enter the 11th level. How could Su Yan enter the 11th level? Su Yan's breakthrough attracted the attention of all the students in the college. The teachers were all moved. After all, he had reached the 10th level. His comprehension had already surpassed some gold students. Boom! All of a sudden, the entire mountain range of Huaxia University began to tremble inexplicably. Even the entire Huaxia city, the entire Huaxia Alliance, and even the entire Earth seemed to be experiencing a super strong earthquake. Heaven and Earth were trembling inexplicably. The stars in the universe seemed to be trembling as well. What's going on? All the strong people in the Huaxia Alliance were shocked. How could Heaven and Earth make such a magnificent movement? They faintly perceived that the Earth had awakened a kind of terrifying momentum like a vast ocean. In Huaxia University, Xia Zhe and Yi Yuan, two strong people, opened their eyes at the same time. Their eyes were full of surprise and joy. The sign of Tao coming to the world, the second change of the Earth was about to come. Buzz! On the top of a towering mountain, a shadow stood on the top of the mountain, bathed in golden light like a god. His eyes flashed with surprise. This day is finally coming. Zu Yan's eyes looked down at Heaven and Earth. He was comprehending the mysterious power born between Heaven and Earth. This was Tao, the law of Heaven and Earth. Faintly, Zu Yan found that this kind of awakening power was unprecedentedly terrible and shocking, as if a terrible emperor was awakening. How could it be? Zu Yan was shocked. He found that the Tao of the Earth was infinitely terrible. It seemed that it could tear the entire Big Dipper star field apart. Could it be that the Earth once had an invincible giant? The smile on Zu Yan's face grew wider and wider. Finally, he laughed loudly. That means the dormant ancestral vein will be even more terrifying. When the time comes, I will steal the ancestral vein chi and break through in one go to open the sacred gate. Behind him, a beautiful woman in white had a strange look in her eyes. No one knew what she was thinking. All these years, Zu Yan had been busy with one thing, which was to open the 9 mountains. According to Zu Yan, there were many ancestral veins buried at the bottom of the mountains. This was the ancestral vein of the Huaxia Alliance, the first of the dragon veins in the world. It was related to the fate of the entire Earth. However, this was only Zu Yan's first plan. He wanted to open the mausoleum of Emperor Qin. What was hidden in the mausoleum of Emperor Qin, the first emperor of all time? Only the heavens knew. However, since Zu Yan couldn't wait to open the mausoleum, there must be a great fortune hidden inside. How could it be so easy? The mausoleum was a vast mountain range, and there were many beast kings. There were more than 1 or 2 demon kings. It would be extremely difficult to attack the mausoleum. However, if Zhu Yin stepped into the next realm, it would be very different. He might be able to force his way through. Now, the entire Huaxia University was in an uproar. The Earth's second metamorphosis would definitely be extremely shocking. No one could say for sure what would happen to the Earth at that time. It's done, ha. Su Yin was immersed in his own world. On this day, he was laughing heartily. The 10th, or had been completely inscribed. 10 array discs were placed in front of him, each of them ready to erupt with an extremely strong killing power at any time. Not bad, the silver-robed woman exclaimed in admiration. Your speed is very fast. In fact, your cultivation level is the lowest among all challengers. This means that your comprehension of array Dao is very good. How long has the Tower of Trials existed? Su Yin suddenly asked. According to the ranking of the Tower of Trials in Huaxia University, he had passed the 10th level and was now ranked first in the Hidden Dragon leaderboard. Not long, only about 10 years. The silver-robed woman sighed slightly. Although it's very short, the test set is not too difficult. Su Yin was stunned. Not difficult? Xia Zhe and the rest didn't pass? He looked deeply at the silver-robed woman and asked, Who are you? Are you just a guardian of the Tower of Trials? You will only know about me when you pass the Tower of Trials in the future. The silver-robed woman's skin was whiter than snow. Her limpid eyes rippled with a gaze that made one's heart tremble. She was beautiful and elegant. Her looks were peerless. She didn't look like a lifeless puppet at all. What are the chances of me passing? Su Yin asked. It's hard to say. She shook her head slightly and looked at Su Yin. According to your cultivation level, the chances of you passing is 0. What? Su Yin exclaimed. 0? Isn't this the Tower of Trials that tests one's comprehension? Su Yin felt that something was wrong. The Tower of Trials wasn't as simple as he thought. There were secrets hidden in it. Wait until you go up. You will know everything. The silver-robed woman was very elegant. She said, If you pass the 11th level, I will not erase your memory. Consider it as a gift to you. Su Yin took a deep breath. It seemed that this silver-robed woman wasn't as simple as a guardian. He looked at the silver-robed woman. His fighting spirit was burning. He said, I want to see how difficult it is. Su Yin didn't believe it. Chapter 66. Rumble. The silver-robed lady pushed open the door to the 11th level. Her eyes were filled with anticipation and helplessness as she watched Su Yin enter. Su Yin stepped into the 11th level. It was as if he had arrived at a vast and desolate universe. It was a vast and boundless land filled with divine essence. It was as if it was a land of treasures, emitting a resplendent divine light. Su Yin was stunned. He had never seen such an astonishing land. It was filled with divine essence and was extremely suitable for cultivation. Examine. Focus all the Tao of formations you've learned, said the silver-robed woman. Only when you've broken through the door to the 12th level will you be considered to have passed the test. You have 3 years to do so. As soon as the silver-robed woman finished inspecting the area, her voice faded. Break open the door. Su Yin's gaze fell upon the vast land. There stood an ancient and mysterious bronze door. It was as if the abyss of the heavens were lying on top of it. It emitted a mountainous and unrivaled aura. Su Yin was astonished. This door was extremely heavy. The aura it emitted was suffocating. He suddenly felt that even if Yi Yuan were here, it would be difficult to open this bronze door. What is inside? Su Yin mumbled to himself. He stared at the vast land and smiled bitterly, using the mystic arts of array Dao to condense the power of the land. The difficulty of this test is 10 times higher. It's basically impossible to complete. No wonder no one has been able to pass this test. It's just too difficult. Even a building-level cultivator would not be able to open this bronze door with his strength alone. Su Yin sat down on the ground. With his knowledge of array Dao, he could condense the power of array Dao. However, condensing the power of array Dao would not be enough to open the door. Condensing the power of array Dao was to condense the power of the land and transform it into the power of the heavens and earth. Transforming the power of array Dao was easy. However, to break open the bronze door was extremely difficult. In other words, this is what I saw on the 5th level. Su Yan's expression suddenly became excited. He jumped up and laughed. This is really my good fortune. Although this test is as difficult as ascending to the heavens, the inheritance within the black ore is a huge cheat. Su Yan excitedly took out the black ore. He had always felt that the inheritance within this ore was very similar to the mystical gate array Dao. It could even be said that the array formation of the mystic gates array Dao was a simplified version of the black ore's inheritance. If he could comprehend a part of the inheritance of the black ore and gather the terrain to bombard the door, it wouldn't be difficult for Su Yan. Su Yan's soul penetrated through the black or through the frontal bone. When he arrived at the world that was so magnificent that it made even the vast sea of stars tremble, Su Yan's soul was about to collapse. With the current strength of his soul, he could barely stay in the black or for a short while. Su Yan didn't waste any time. His soul observed the intertwining textures in the world, as if the laws of heaven and earth had converged to form various codes of power. This gave Su Yan a great deal of inspiration. Su Yan had already crossed the threshold in the domain of array Dao. Observing the inheritance once again, although it was complicated to the extreme, there were still some areas that he could understand. He didn't persist for long, because his divine soul had been severely damaged, so he came out. Just wait, I can definitely step in the 12th floor. Su Yan let out a sigh of relief and grinned. The inheritance of the black ore is many times more magnificent than the 5th floor. I only need to comprehend a small part of it to condense the terrain here. Su Yan was immersed in an ancient and dazzling inheritance, unable to extricate himself. The entire Huaxia University seemed to have been swept up by a violent storm. The change in the hidden dragon ranking, the change of first place, caused a great uproar. How is this possible? All the students felt their scalps go numb. Su Yan had reached the 11th floor, and his points had surpassed Jiang Wuhen's. Jiang Wuhen's palace was filled with an endless source of terror. An ancient golden crow wanted to soar into the 9 heavens, as if it could burn down the universe. First place was taken away. To Jiang Wuhen, this was a great humiliation. After all, he was Zhu Yan's disciple, and also the student with the strongest talent in the Huaxia Alliance. But with the appearance of Su Yan, the title of having the strongest perception had fallen to him. Einerjar, your student is really amazing. Xiaozhe sent a message to Yi Yuan. I have already informed the manager of the training tower to keep Su Yan's progress a secret. I want to see what kind of inheritance is inside. Yi Yuan was also stunned for a moment. A smile appeared on his rough face, but he was also worried. Back then, he had reached the 11th floor, and so had Xiaozhe. But unfortunately, they had failed at the 11th floor, and even their memories had been erased. Su Yan, first place on the hidden dragon ranking. A student who hasn't even opened his life spring has such a shocking power of understanding. The heavens are jealous of his talents. What a pity. Some students felt sorry for Su Yan. First place on the hidden dragon ranking. Su Yan's achievements in the future might be more outstanding than Jiang Wuhen's. But now, Su Yan had not opened his life spring. The halo of genius and trash was now gathered on Su Yan. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. The second change in Earth's cultivation environment was ushering in another one. This time, it could be confirmed that the second change was speeding up. It should be earlier than expected. What is happening outside? Many teachers and core students of the college have left. It is said that an ancient relic has appeared in the 9th base, and there is even a dragon vein inside. The strong students of the college have already joined forces and are preparing to explore this ancient relic. Even the vice principal, Lu Peng, is personally leading the team. The whole college was abuzz with discussion. Every time an ancient relic appeared, there would be strong students leading a large group of strong students to explore it. But this time was different. Because of the appearance of the dragon vein, many top beast kings were preparing to attack the ancient relic. This also led to the participation of strong students from various parties who were ready to take a share of the loot. 1. On the 11th floor of the training tower, waves after waves of majestic spiritual energy emerged as if golden lightning was exploding. Su Yan's spiritual energy had become much stronger. In this month, he did not sleep or rest as he studied the inheritance within the black, or every time he studied the inheritance of the mysterious, or he would experience the exhaustion of his life force again and again. With Su Yan's spiritual energy cultivation, it was difficult for it not to become stronger. His spiritual energy cultivation had improved greatly, and it was also because of this strange territory that contained the essence of heaven and earth. This played a crucial role in Su Yan's spiritual energy cultivation. My spiritual energy has doubled in size. Su Yan still did not make a move. The deeper one comprehended the inheritance within the black, or the more one could feel the grandeur and vastness of the heaven and earth layout. Su Yan's gains were great. It was equivalent to an array Tao master giving him pointers here. Boundless earth, heaven's momentum. Dragons and snakes rise and fall, killing intent. Heaven and earth's momentum. Heaven and earth move. I control the universe. Su Yan deduced what he had learned, but he seemed to have forgotten all about array Tao. Array momentum. From array Tao to momentum, it was a qualitative transformation. It was completely different. Array Tao gathered the power of heaven and earth, but the inheritance within the black, or described momentum. It used one strength to trigger the heaven and earth's momentum. It could even circulate the earth's chi, giving rise to extremely powerful killing intent. Another month passed. The speed at which Su Yan's spiritual energy strengthened gradually slowed down. He realized that it was a problem with his cultivation technique. The soul tempering technique was similar to what Yi Yuan had said. It was not a top-notch cultivation technique, but Su Yan felt that if his spiritual energy had the opportunity, it could transform to the primordial spirit level. Gradually, Su Yan discovered a very crucial problem. He felt that the current Earth's environment was lacking something. It was the heaven and Earth's momentum, heaven and Earth's power, and heaven and Earth's law. So Tao is heaven and Earth's law, heaven and Earth's power. Su Yan was enlightened. No wonder it was said that the second metamorphosis on Earth was a feast for the rise. Once a person grasped the power of heaven and Earth's law, it was definitely a heaven-defying power. Perhaps only with such strength could one be considered a powerhouse. Su Yan felt a sense of urgency. If Earth gave birth to the great Tao of heaven and earth, and gave birth to heaven and Earth's law, then he would be further and further away from Su Yan. Let's begin. Su Yan suddenly stood up. His aura soared to the sky, and his long black hair danced in the wind. Wave after wave of aura seeped out from Su Yan's body. They were shaped like array marks, but they were like true dragon, black tortoise, vermilion bird. These ancient words erupted all at once. The profound heavens pattern rose and fell inexplicably. It faintly followed Su Yan's aura and soared into the sky. Ha ha ha! Su Yan laughed. His footsteps were steady as he walked through the territory. Wherever he passed, the earth's chi would erupt. Every time Su Yan's foot landed on the ground, profound array marks would appear on the ground. Every step would trigger the earth's pattern to rise. Of course, with Su Yan's current strength, it was impossible for him to trigger all the earth's patterns. Su Yan estimated that if he wanted to use the heaven and earth's power, he would first have to comprehend the profundity of the heaven and earth's pattern, which was the next realm that earth's powerhouses pursued. Even so, it was not difficult for Su Yan. Piece of cake. Su Yan took out dozens of oars and began to write and draw on them. He did not have the ability to trigger the earth's chi to evolve into a killing formation. However, these oars could help him. Su Yan engraved what he had learned on the oars and buried them in the ground, hoping to trigger the earth's pattern. His eyes were red. It had been 3 days and 3 nights. Su Yan rested for a while before he continued to crazily engrave. He spent a total of 10 days and 10 nights to engrave 20 oars. Each and every one of them was dazzling and intertwined with array marks. Su Yan buried them in the ground. When he awakened the array disk, the oars exploded one by one. The moment they exploded, they erupted with powerful divine energy and formed beams of light that shot into the sky. It was as if 20 earth dragons had soared into the sky, triggering the Earth's pattern. On the other hand, this territory that was thick like the sky rose and fell under the influence of the awakened formation disk. At the instant it rose and fell, monstrous divine essence gushed out and erupted with the chi of the veins of the earth, and they converged in the sky like bolts of lightning before converging into an extremely terrifying dragon-shaped phantom. Now, in order to evolve the Earth's pattern, he had to master the Earth's pattern. Mastering the Earth's pattern was equivalent to mastering the power of the land. Break! Su Yin roared and triggered the dragon-shaped force. It was as if a divine dragon had emerged from the sea and crashed into the bronze door. Creak!